Residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on OpenSignal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, the Mariners get back to it tonight after a butt-kicking in Game 3 at the hands of the Toronto Blue Jays. They send Luis Castillo to the hill in Game 4. He faces off against Max Scherzer. So an interesting move being made there. We'll see how Scherzer looks after not pitching for quite some time. You can catch it all right here, starting at 4:30 with the pregame show. 5:33 first pitch, Seattle Sports on 710.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
Welcome to the Mariners Pennant Push.
The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
Special pregame coverage counting you down to first pitch in the American League Championship Series.
It is on its way. It is history. Cal Raleigh stands alone.
The countdown to first pitch starts now.
We are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you, taking you up to game time, up to pregame for the Mariners. Coming up at 4:30, Game 4 of the ALCS coming up tonight. They send Luis Castillo to the hill in the hopes of managing that 3-1 lead going into Friday's game. Last night was not pretty. We'll talk about that. Jon Morosi will join us here at 3 o'clock. Tim Kurkjian will join us at 4 p.m., so stay tuned for all of that. Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. What do we say about last night, Ryan? It was good for 2 innings. It was a lot of fun for those first 2 innings. Julio Rodriguez gets things going with the home run right out of the gates again. The building is exploding. Kirby is dialed in and sharp. And then there was the 3rd inning. And the wheels came off, and it felt like every pitch he threw was a cookie over the middle of the plate.
It felt like any mistake he made was getting smashed. There wasn't any leeway. And to be honest with you, just kicking off with George Kirby, the first couple of innings, there was still a ton of mistakes. Like you go, for example, compare the 2 pitches, Lucas, the one he struck out against a left-handed hitter in Lucas, and the pitch that he hit into right field. The pitch he struck him out on was worse, than the pitch that he hit. It was essentially up and in. But yeah, it's a situation where, look, you can talk about, and we talked about this yesterday with Bryce Miller, going back to Toronto. It's not as simply put, if you're in the strike zone, good things happen against a team that's aggressive. It's a team that's aggressive. They make a ton of contact, but they make really good contact. So when you are in the strike zone, man, it's got to be a quality pitch and away from the middle of the plate. And we saw that last night with George Kirby.
What changed in the 3rd? Did he change, or did they change in terms of their approach? Because you talked about he made some mistakes early, got away with it. So was it a matter of them adjusting what he was doing?
No, honestly, I went back. I've watched the first couple of innings. I watched the first 3 innings in particular a couple times through, just to sort of make sure I wasn't missing anything watching him. And I guarantee he's done the same thing. I guarantee Pete Woodruff's done the same thing. Like I said, the first couple of innings, you're thinking to yourself, okay, and I say this because 162 games, you're going to get away with some mistakes. You feel like it's so magnified, man, in the playoffs. For whatever reason, it just all of a sudden the wheels fell off in the 3rd. But everything, the pitch quality was kind of the same, to be honest with you. From inning 1, 2, and into inning 3, the pitch quality was kind of the same. The approach from them was similar as well. But sometimes, though, when you are so dialed in, especially second time through, knowing you're going to get a bunch of fastballs like they were getting from George Kirby, and if you notice, all that damage was happening the first 3 pitches per at-bat. And again, man, it was a situation. I get that look at him. I get that 60-foot scouting report that you can't get on video. You go back out there and say, you know what? All right, I've seen it. Look how this ball's spinning and where this ball's hanging out on the plate. I'm getting after it still, and I've got a good look. And then I'm going to time this up, and that's exactly what they did, man. This is a potent offense. Sometimes it works to your, against you in the sense, and we saw this a little bit with Bryce Miller. Remember Bryce Miller? I'm using him as an example because he was so good in 6 innings. He went from not quality pitches in that first inning, approach was very similar, to all of a sudden he sharpened up a little bit. Their approach stayed the same. Then he was getting weak contact. So I think if it was a situation with George Kirby getting that second time through and he was starting to get more of that up and into lefties, up and away to righties to where he was trying to get to, man, he could have gone all night and just absolutely dominated. However, the pitch was still in the middle of the plate. A lot of those fastballs were getting hit.
Yeah, and for people that haven't heard, Bryce Miller will get the start in Game 5. Brian Wu will come out of the bullpen in that game, which is interesting.
I honestly thought that we were going to roll in today, and if they were going to start talking about Game 5, I honestly thought they were going to – and look, I'll be honest with you. I think before last night, if we were 24 hours ago, I think they were thinking about Brian Wu potentially starting a Game 5, or if necessary.
Right. What do you think changed their mind?
I think what changed their mind was like, maybe it's more of a situation where this is a potent offense. Now all of a sudden we're in a pivotal situation where tomorrow is so pivotal because the minute I've thought about this maybe too much, but I think that the softest landing, not that there is any, the softest landing for Brian Wu, when you haven't pitched for 3 weeks, and I know he's a stud, man. I'm so happy to see him on the roster. Don't get me wrong, but man, there is a ton of pressure when you have not faced a hitter at game speed, let alone playoff speed. And we've seen how different the game speed is once you get to the postseason. Man, it's been that was a long time ago. That was nearly a month ago.
It was like September 19th.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you think about that, right? So it's close to a month since he has faced, hitters, and then not to mention the fact that now all of a sudden, all these games, every pitch matters so much. So the softest landing you're going to get is potentially out of that bullpen where it's just like, look, like we talked about with some of the Logan and Luis pitching in that Game 5, just go empty the tank. Don't overthink it. Don't have to overprocess. We're not asking you to carry this team. Come out of the bullpen, empty the tank, and if it goes south because you haven't faced a hitter in a month, we got your back right away.
What happened with Bieber? Because they got to him early. Julio goes yard on him.
Yep.
Polanco follows with a double. They're squaring him up, and it looked like a guy that's still recovering from Tommy John surgery, wasn't quite as sharp, and then all of a sudden he locks him down. What changed there? Was it his approach or their approach?
So we talked about with I'm going to compare him to a Bryce Miller in Game 1 of this series, and George Kirby last night. So Bryce Miller comes out, not sharp in the first inning.
Right.
Aggressive approach. All of a sudden, second time through, well, he cleaned up a few things. Same aggressive approach, soft contact. Last night, George Kirby, I'm getting to Shane Bieber here in just a minute.
Hurry up.
Yes. Yes, I'm up against the clock here. I get tapped on the shoulder.
Always.
But, did you hear this?
Yeah.
Well, with how long your stories are.
Right, yeah, thanks. Wow.
Jeez.
So with George Kirby last night, aggressive approach. The second time through, we didn't clean up some of the mistakes in the middle of the plate. We got beat for it. Shane Bieber last night, to me, watching him compared to that Yankee start, he is going to live down and away, right? I know when you look at kind of the heat map and everything, if you really dive in, he's kind of sprayed everything. But he's going to live down and away. He got that little cushion of 5 runs, and then he just made some subtle cleaning up out of the middle of the plate, settled in, took a breath, and all of a sudden, let's not forget, man, this is a guy who's Cy Young caliber pitching and was in the Cy Young conversation, top 5 votes all those years. He's come back from TJ, and by the way, he was good when he came back from TJ when he joined the Toronto Blue Jays, getting traded over. he can be really tough, man. I just think he took a breath. He sharpened up, just getting out of the middle of the plate. He lived down and away. If you see a lot of the strikeouts as well, it was that tunneling, that really sharp tunneling curveball and slider combination off that fastball down and away. And he just lived down there, man. He was tough.
So you don't think it was so much the approach of the hitters. It was more that he
was tough.
He got settled in.
100%. You have to tip your cap to someone. And again, this is, like I said, and I'm going to take the same approach with Max Scherzer tonight. I'm not looking at Max Scherzer saying, we can get into that too, but I'm not looking at Max Scherzer say, this is the guy who was left off the roster last round.
Yeah.
But if they find something, or all of a sudden they get that little bit of a buffer and they get a breather, and they're like, man, I'm honing in on this. Shane Bieber is the best when he is down and away with that hitter and that tunneling big 12-6 breaking ball, which is that tight spin, just comes off of that pitch out of the strike zone, off that fastball out of the strike zone, the same tunnel. He can be really tough.
Dan Wilson, after the game last night, just talked about the confidence he's got in their team and their ability to respond after they lose.
Again, this is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back, being resilient. We've used a lot of words for it, but tomorrow's going to be that opportunity again for us, and these guys know how to prepare and be ready for that. And I don't expect it's going to be an issue for them at all. This is a team that has proven over and over again that fighting back, bouncing back, having resiliency is a part of their DNA, and tomorrow's a chance to do that again.
Yeah, that's the one thing that struck me after the game, as ugly as it was. I mean, look, you went out there and got your ass kicked. That's the reality of it. But going down into that clubhouse, not that they were happy by any stretch, don't get me wrong, but there was no panic. There was no –
Love it.
Nobody's in there kicking the ball bag around, throwing things around. It was guys were quiet, but it wasn't, oh, no, what happened? I mean, it felt like a golden opportunity. You got out to a great start, obviously. Would love to have pulled that off. Reality, were you really expecting a sweep of this team? I mean, they're the number
really
one
good.
seed for a reason. So not super shocked that they won a game. The fashion they did it was gross. It wasn't fun to watch. But there was no, you heard it from Dan, you heard it from others talking, there was no panic. There was, hey, look, it's baseball, man. We went out there.
Yeah.
It didn't go our way. We got another game tomorrow. There's a reason that team is in this position. There's a reason we're in this position. We're going to go do it again tomorrow.
We talked about this yesterday before the show, right? Talking about how, and I was getting nervous. I'm like, they're taking their foot off the gas after they go 2-0. Well, and I want to make sure I preface this by saying, it's not like you're rolling out the game, go, oh yeah, we got this made, we're all good. No, you're going as hard as you can, but just psychologically, like, man, we're in the driver's seat. This is great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, and so I think that last night it could be the best thing for him. The fact that you get, knocked around a little bit just to get sharpened up to say, and knowing how pivotal this game is. You are either leaving game 4 2-2, so you're back to square one. That 2-0 lead that you jumped on in Toronto really goes back to ground zero, or all of a sudden you're back in the driver's seat, 3-1. And that's huge. So this is why this game's crucial. I'll say one more thing too, just back to George Kirby and just to what happened last night. Think about this, man. If you're in a Game 5 situation and you're in the third inning, you are pitching every single throw you make is, if I don't get this guy out, I'm getting pulled because this is Game 5 life or death. Naturally. Right. You have just a little bit of a different mindset. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but you have a different mindset saying, well, we're at a 2-0 lead right now. I want to get deep in this game. I want to get to 2 strikes. It's just a little bit different as opposed to looking over your shoulder and trying to bury that 0-1 pitch early in the count against Vlad, because you're going to get that swing and miss. Because I know that I might only go 2 innings. Who cares? Right. Someone's coming to pick it up. Hang with them. So there's just that different mindset, man, which sometimes, man, it can be a little bit of a blessing when you get smacked around like they did last night.
Julio, after the game, talked about just not letting this loss linger at all.
I mean, like you said, it's just one game. They're here for a reason too. I think they're a really good team, and they came out swinging today, and they were able to definitely get the dub. But it's one game, and just kind of how we know, they know that we got to line up tomorrow and play a baseball game again.
Yeah, it's to me that's a great reminder that we as fans take it often harder and it lingers longer with us, whether it's a win or a loss. And the players, win or lose, they're like, look, we got to go back and do this tomorrow. We're not going to let the same game beat us twice.
Yeah, right? I mean, what's so important, you got a chance to be down in that locker room last night. What's so important, if you have one of your guys that you kind of glance over in the other side of the locker room, how are they responding to what just happened last night. You know, and it's just straight that you just cue off that non-verbal. So if you walk into a locker room and whoever it is, now again, we talk about Cal being one of the leaders, JP being one of those leaders and everything else. Well, it could be someone that if you're a young bullpen arm and you're looking at, how's, if you look up to Munoz, how's Munoz acting right now?
Right.
How's he respond? All that stuff, it just trickles into the next game. And it's so important, too. So you can't roll into this and crank the music and everything else. You got to roll in and say, man, we just got that butt kick, reevaluate.
They actually did have the music going. I was surprised.
Nice.
It wasn't cranked,
right.
but it was going.
I got no problem with that at all, man. Yeah. I don't want it to be a morgue in there after you lose. It's like, we get it, man. We're all good. Let's move on. Let's move on quick. But you just feed off, if you're a younger player, you feed off the 2 or 3 guys how they're responding after a game like that. Josh Naylor would be someone, I guarantee you they're responding. How's he respond, and everyone will be reacting off of that.
Is there anything to it in the fashion that they lost that, look, you and I got your tail kicked. It was a no-doubter versus, hey, maybe they're up by a run and they blow it in the 9th, or they lose in that fashion. Does it impact them at all?
I think 99.99% of the roster in there and the coaching staff have been around baseball long enough to know how crazy baseball is, that you can give up a 12 spot and shut out a team the next day.
Yeah.
And you're smart enough to really dissect the moments that turned a 1-run inning. How do you not stop the bleeding in that 5th? You can break that down. You can dissect that. Then you can dissect, this bullpen arm gave this up and that. Because the pitching wasn't good last night. Let's get real.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think you can really sort of, as opposed to saying, man, they just scored 12 runs. They're a really potent offense. Oh, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's much easier to dissect it when you've been in it, and you've got blown out. And the next day, I talk about this with starting pitchers all the time. And the guys who separate themselves from being good in the big leagues or just average to being really, really good are the guys who can just give it up. 5 days later, all of a sudden, they are right back, and they're not second-guessing anything they did, and they've got that conviction. They're putting up 6 innings, 1 run.
So you're Luis Castillo taking the hill tonight. You know this is an aggressive lineup you're facing. You saw what they can do. How do you approach it?
I think the smart play for him is to approach this, and I said this earlier, this is a pivotal. You're either 3-1 or 2-2 at the end of this game. So you have to treat this like it is game 5, essentially, I think, more so than last night. And that's what I talked about with George Kirby. If you're Luis Castillo, what he did against Tarek Skubal in game 2 was he threw a boatload of pitches, nothing in the middle of the plate. He's trying to get chase since pitch 1. If I go out there and Luis Castillo, I say, you know what, I'm going to throw 100 pitches. It may take me 30 pitches per inning. I may only go 3 innings. I am not giving into this lineup. They are going to swing. I'm going to trust the fact that I'm going to get a little bit of chase here. But I am not in a situation where it's 1-0. Oh, man, I've got to get back in the count. Nope. You are making every pitch like you are scratching out the 9th inning 0 to close out a game from inning 1, 2, 3, and 4 and just see how long you can go. He did that against Tarek Skubal. We talked about it. He wasn't that sharp at all.
No.
But you know what he did?
4 2/3.
4 2/3, a ton of walks. Why? Because he just simply was going to just scratch out. How many times can I put up a 0? I've got 2 base runners. I walked a guy, base hit. All right, I'm going to do everything I can to get either that soft infield contact or a swing and miss. It might take me 6 pitches per at bat.
So even if he's in a hitter's count, you're not expecting him to put one across the plate.
100%.
He's sitting there, 3-1, 2-0.
100%.
He's still going for the chase.
Yeah, 100%. He did that against the Tigers, and was he sharp? No. But you know what? There's enough depth in this bullpen, and there's enough, piece in the 4th inning, even 5th, 6th, 7th onwards, that he has the luxury to go out there, as opposed to a regular season game, throw a bunch of pitches and just scratch and claw a 0 for as long as he can.
Does he get away with it versus this lineup? Tigers lineup doesn't match up with the Blue Jays lineup.
It's a tougher lineup for sure.
Yeah. So can he have that kind of game where I'm walking guys, they're not crushing my mistakes?
Put it this way. Okay, let's go a little bit more nuance to Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo knows exactly what his swing and miss weapons are and what his soft contact weapons are. When he got back on track, talking about when I'll say one more thing about Luis Castillo too, if we've got time here, with another thing you got to factor in with him. But he knows exactly what are those weapons to righties and lefties. I know I can get bad, weak contact up in the air or swing and miss. I know what that is. For him, look, that four-seam fastball that just has that natural run-in on the hands above the strike zone. Have at it. So, in other words, if it's a 1-0, 2-0 count, all of a sudden, this is my two-strike pitch, hey, run that fastball up above the strike zone. If I miss, I miss. I am not getting back into I'm not, quote-unquote, getting back into counts. The other thing, too, you got to factor in with Luis Castillo, 2 keys for him tonight. Number one, when he was going through his rough stretch and he turned it around, he cleaned up what he did the first time through the lineup. If you look at his numbers when he was going through that rough stretch, man, they were crushing him the first time through. And you could see non-verbals, man, his body language is like he was really trying to find it. Well, once he cleaned up that first time through the lineup, all of a sudden you see that Luis Castillo, that smirk, that cadence, and just that good rhythm that he finds. So he has to find that early, and I think that's a big part of it, not giving in. The other thing is, too, that Dan Wilson has to factor in. He's one of the best when you're talking third time through the lineup. So if he does get in a rhythm, you have to give him a little bit more of that leash or give him that moment. Because, man, third time through, he gets a ton of swing and miss, he's a top 5 in third time through the lineup. Swing and miss, soft contact, and batting average against.
So it's a matter of getting through it the first 2 times.
100%. And that's why I'm going more towards pitching like it's a 2-strike count, even if it's a 1-0, 2-0 in this situation. Even if it takes you 7 pitches per at-bat, whatever.
Yeah. It feels like a dangerous game for him to get traffic out there. If he starts walking guys, I just think he got away with things against that Detroit lineup.
Well, he got away from it because he was not in the middle of the play. In other words, he was getting in deeper counts. He's like, oh, man, how do you get that weak contact? Because guys are pressing. If they're going to be aggressive, like the Blue Jays are, get outside the strike zone a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, look, in terms of the experience, in terms of the pedigree, the resume, if you will, this is the guy you want after a loss.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
This is the guy who's been there. He's seen it. He's the veteran
for sure.
So and he's a guy whose demeanor never changes. I think that's crucial. We've seen George when things go wrong. At times, it's hard for him to reel it back in.
Yeah, he gets right in the middle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he gets a little agitated. You can see it on his face. Whereas Castillo really shows no real emotion other than the fist after a strikeout. But he's just kind of even keeled when he's succeeding or if he's getting touched up.
Right. And again, like I said, man, it goes without saying, but for him especially, the stark difference, when he gets in that nice little rhythm and tempo early, and you're seeing that recoil, he throws that pitch and there's that recoil and he's bouncing off the mound early on, inning 1 and 2, he's in a good place.
You're feeling optimistic?
Yeah, I am. Absolutely. I think last night was honestly a good little smack in the face.
You think they do better when they're sort of backed into a corner?
I think there's more of a sense of urgency. Absolutely, yeah. For sure. But I'm telling you, 3-1 compared to 2-2, huge difference.
People have also pointed out, Wyman said he might be bad luck, and maybe he was. And now he's not here today, so.
Well, no, you blamed it on me last night because
we both did. I mean, do we want to outline it for everyone here? What happened?
We were in the radio booth. Julio hits the home run. Polanco double. Kirby's dealing in the first 2 innings. All is right with the. It was everything I was saying this would be great. Mariners jump on him early. Crowd's going nuts. Bieber throws a bunch of pitches in the first inning. It was going according to plan. And Ryan wasn't in the room at that time.
Guess he rolls in.
Then who rolls
right in the middle of you guys?
In the second inning, the bottom of the second, he comes in.
Get my little computer, my notepad out.
And gets comfy in the third inning. The wheels came off.
The wheels came off. They really did. And you kept looking over. I'm like, don't you even say it.
Well, because Bob was the one that was going to be worried. So I kept looking at you, worried for your sake.
You're like, you realize this is you, right? I'm like, dude, save it. That's how, I'm not moving. This is my spot.
All right, the Mariners offense could use a bit of a spark. We're going to dive into a possible fix for that coming up next as we continue live from Victory Hall. It's the Mariners' pennant push in the American League Championship Series. Seattle Sports on 710.
Well, the Blue Jays finally showed up here in the ALCS.
Deep to right field, that ain't coming back. And the Blue Jays now lead it 13-4.
On to Game 4 tonight at T-Mobile, where the Mariners look to bounce back.
This is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back.
And pull within 1 win of the World Series. First pitch at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Ewart here. It's such a joy for me to be joined by Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Shannon, I've heard so much about traveling physical therapists. What's that mean to you and IRG?
That's a great question, Brock. Traveling physical therapy right now, I think, is a fad, and a lot of young therapists are doing it, but they're missing opportunities that we provide here at IRG. And those things we provide at IRG are really important, and that's being part of a team and treating patients, building relationships, engaging with our community. That is so important. The other thing is they're not getting paid time off. A crew are paid time off, and they do not get continuing education, professional growth, and that is so important as a young therapist to have access to professional growth. The other thing is we have an enhanced compensation program here at IRG that our physical therapists, our occupational therapists can increase their earnings by engagement, outcomes, and intervention. That's what we're all about. We're about building a great culture for young therapists and all clinicians to work here.
Openings across the whole company. Head over to irgpt.com/careers, irgpt.com/careers.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hundreds of vehicles on the ground, 8 dealerships, 14 brands, all in one location. Visit West Hills Autoplex. We have more brands in one location than anywhere else in Washington State, import or domestic, new or pre-owned. We make finding your perfect vehicle easy, and that means a remarkable car buying experience for you. Skip the hassle with West Hills' streamlined buying experience and feel confident buying from your neighborhood family-owned dealerships. West Hills Autoplex. Auto Centerway exit, Highway 3, Bremerton.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the home of the Seahawks.
Going to let one fly deep. Got a man out there. Ball is caught down at the 10-yard line, and it's JSN.
Seattle Sports.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and it's time to make the final push to the end of the year. Do you want to lose weight, improve your health, and have more energy? We have a proven system and a team of health coaches that have helped over 4,000 people in Washington lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks without expensive injections or uncomfortable side effects. No gimmicks, no tricks, no drugs, just teaching you how to become a fat-burning machine and keep it off long-term. Visit eastsideweightlossclinic.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Yeah, it's Mike Salk here. And just like writing that essay back in high school or maybe in college, starting, that can be the hardest part. Well, Eastside Weight Loss Clinic makes it as easy as possible. They helped me lose 35 pounds in just 60 days. A no-pressure, free 15-minute phone consultation. See if it's right for you. And if it is, you got nothing to lose but the weight itself.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two, and you can do our program remotely from anywhere you live. Schedule your free consultation at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
I had pain. I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug, and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
Welcome to the Mariners Pennant Push.
The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
Special pregame coverage counting you down to first pitch in the American League Championship Series.
It is on its way. It is history. Cal Raleigh stands alone.
The countdown to first pitch starts now.
We are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you, taking you up till Mariners pregame coming up at 4:30 p.m. Game 4 of the ALCS coming your way with Luis Castillo on the hill. He faces off against Max Scherzer. You can catch it all right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Ryan, taking a look at that offense, they've had their pockets, right? They got off to a great start, and then they got shut down by Bieber, as we talked about.
Yeah.
I know you've said you're against tinkering with the lineup. They've tinkered a bit because Robles is not starting today. Canzone is starting in right field. They're going to have Leo Rivas playing second. So he's hitting ninth today, and you've got Canzone out there. Now, I haven't heard anything or read anything yet on Robles, but we did see him make that catch up against the wall where he kind of, you saw him moving the arm, the shoulder around, and that's the one that he heard very early in the season. I don't know if he tweaked it or if this is just – he hasn't been hitting, so I don't know if this is a move that Dan feels like they want to shake things up.
I'm not against tinkering with the lineup. I think just more in the sense when we talked about yesterday with Randy at the top,
right.
He was struggling.
Yeah.
I just don't think it has a ripple effect on Cal hitting behind him, Julio hitting behind Cal. I wouldn't start messing around with that in particular. But Victor Robles, since he came back off that injury, no fault to his own, it's been a bit of a bumpy road. The approach has been a little bit different. Obviously, I love how aggressive he is. But at the same time, down the bottom of the line, you can sort of mix and match. Not to mention, too, Leo Rivas, at bats have been really good. The contact has been really good. So this is a situation where they would have sat around and said, hey, look, this is a chance to give him a chance to play. And then, of course, with Dominic Canzone as well, shuffling that up. Now, you mentioned there could be a situation, too. You mentioned the injury part on top of that, too. But if it's not an injury thing, if it's purely just because of performance-based, Robles is hitting 100 or hitting 115. He's only punched out 7 times, I believe. It's not like this huge swing and miss, but some of the approach has not been great from Victor Robles. So you can tinker a little bit more with that at the bottom of that line, especially with Rivas too, man. He's looked good. He's looked really good. Yeah,
Rivas typically gives you a solid, whether he comes up with a hit or not. He's the guy that'll make the pitcher work a bit. Right. Sort of like JP. They can very often, it'll end in a strikeout or a ground out, whatever, but they're going to see 5, 6, 7 pitches.
I'll be honest with you, too. If you're driving along thinking back to what did Rivas do during the season, let's not forget, in the month of April and into May, when the offense was carrying this team, the starting pitching was not good like we used to see. A big part of that was 7, 8, 9 were the best in baseball in the month of April, right, leading into the month of May. It was good because of the at-bats. You had JP down there, and you also had Leo Rivas, who was playing a huge part in that. Now, he was the odd man out. He went down, spent plenty of time in AAA. Then he got a chance to come back and play in September. I'll be honest with you, there was times throughout the season, I'm like, maybe it's time to really, because what he was doing in AAA and also what I saw in the month of in April, I'm like, maybe it's a little bit more of a time here. I get it, you got your guys, but maybe Rivas has kind of earned that spot early on before coming back. And then he came back, hit that big home run, if you remember, the walk-off. And he was playing a role. He really was. And so he's looked good, man. So I get it. He's kind of earned a chance to get a start tonight in game 4.
Yeah, I've got no problems with him being in the lineup. Canzone's, we're waiting for him. He's one of the guys I was looking at as a potential X factor because
100%.
He'd been great since he got called back up from AAA.
Yeah.
And he's really scuffled so far in the postseason. Now, my only fear with him, it's not him in the lineup. I'm still waiting for him to get going. But Robles, despite his struggles at the plate, is a decidedly better defensive player than Dom Canzone is.
For sure.
So that's the one area where I'm like, all right, well, let's see what kind of action there's going to be out in right field tonight. That's where my concern. Him in the lineup, he's scuffling. Hopefully he can get it going, but it's more about the defense.
Canzone went off in the month of September. He went off in a couple different facets that tell me that he's not been overwhelmed since coming back from AAA. Number one, he's handling lefties. Well, it wasn't like he was crushing lefties, but, man, he was handling lefties. So that tells me, all right, you're seeing the ball pretty well. You're comfortable with your swing, with your new approach and everything you're doing. He cleaned up that leg kick a little bit. And the other big one, too, he was hitting so well. A lot of those home runs came with 2 strikes. So if you're handling 2-strike pitches like that, man, you're all of a sudden your approach is better. You're seeing the ball better. This is a great sign. Then we got to the playoffs, and he kind of went back to that missing pitches well outside the strike zone. The approach was different. There was way more chase in there. There was way more urgency from him. And I was like, man, I'm with you too. I know I mentioned Polanco, and I nailed that, by the way, being an X factor for these playoffs.
You and me both, buddy.
But, yeah, but I was with you too. Maybe Canzone was going to be my second choice. Maybe he's going to get a little bit more playing time with the platoon facing righties. But he just, again, he hasn't shown that. And it could be a situation, and we talked about this early in the season, where you're trying to force the issue because you're trying to prove that you belong in that lineup. Maybe it's a little bit of that too happening right now.
Yeah. Well, I think you nailed it. The strike zone seems very big with him.
Yes,
he's
all
expanded that strike zone
after
in a big
really
way.
good September.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, I was advocating for him against lefties. Leave him in there. Don't put Garver in there. Just leave Canzone in there. I just have more faith that he's going to come through with something positive, as opposed to Garver in those situations where they were just automatically going, oh, there's the lefty on the hill. All right, bringing in our right-handed lineup, which makes sense, but at the time Canzone was rolling, Garver was not. Let him face the lefties. But, yeah, he's looked more, I don't know, anxious. Maybe the moment's getting to. He's still, I think we forget, he's still a really young guy in his career.
For sure.
So maybe this moment he's trying to be too big. I don't know. Yeah, but hopefully, he's got a few games under his belt, certainly by this point. That'll turn tonight. My concern with him, again, isn't so much at the plate as it is defensively out there in right field, because, again, Robles has not been great at the plate, not trying to make that case, but he's a very good defensive outfielder.
Yeah, and you felt like, that Game 5 base hit from Robles. Hey, here it is. Just get on base and create a bit of havoc. Get on base and be someone who can disrupt. So, it'd be a situation, again, we always talk about how magnified some of these situations become with that one base runner or that one at-bat. Does he come up, maybe pinch hits, lays a bunt down, or, pinch run, steals a bag or something like that? But, again, the other part to it, and, again, I'm just pushing this aside for now because I hope it's not this case. It could very well be him running into that wall last night, which rattled him a little bit too.
Hey, quickly, do you think there's anything to, look, the game was out of hand by this point, but we saw Gino come up with a base hit. We saw Randy go deep. Game was essentially over, but is that just them seeing something positive with them at the plate? Two guys that have been struggling. Do you think there's any carryover from, okay, I feel good. I squared it up. I hit the ball hard. Randy, I hit it out of the park. You think there's any chance that kind of lightens the load for them? They come in today feeling like, all right, I left on a positive. Yeah, we didn't win, but individually, I had a positive end to the evening.
For Randy and Gino, I think so. I mean, especially Gino, right? Look, Gino, since he's come back, and I remember talking to Kevin Seitzer about this towards the end of the season. He said everything's just kind of like exploding on him. Like he goes, I feel like I'm seeing the ball well, and then that fastball's taken off, and they were working so hard in the cage, trying to come just some of these little tiny fixes in the swing. So when you're in a regular season as a player and you get beat or whatever it may be, you just try and take the tiny little victories. As a team, too, in a 162, if you get blown out, hey, you know what? Gino, all of a sudden, he found something here. He got that really tough slider, and he got a barrel on it. I think for Gino and for Randy, we know what happens when, especially Randy, man, when he catches something, boom, he just takes off. And we've seen that. He's kind of that just chunks of the season where he was just, you couldn't get him out. So, yes, I think that was big for him to salvage something from last night. From a team point of view, it's not like, oh, hey, we got this. But I think from an individual standpoint, when you are really trying to find that swing, that approach, and just see the ball like a beach ball as opposed to everything, like I said, exploding when Seitz talked about that with Gino, I think those little individual victories, I think they help going into this game.
All right, coming up, the series rests on one thing from this Mariners pitching staff tonight, or maybe it doesn't. We'll talk about that more as we continue live from Victory Hall right here on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series at Seattle Sports on 710.
Well, the Blue Jays finally showed up here in the ALCS.
Deep to right field, that ain't coming back. And the Blue Jays now lead it 13-4.
On to Game 4 tonight at T-Mobile, where the Mariners look to bounce back.
This is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back.
And pull within one win of the World Series. First pitch at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Tim Hunter, former Seattle radio goofball here with two words that aren't funny. Prostate cancer. Get your annual checkup. Keep an eye on that PSA number. And if you hear those two words like I did, talk to the folks at Swedish Cyberknife. 5 treatments, minimally invasive and technologically advanced over the other options. If you're a friend, and I consider you one, I'd highly recommend Swedish Cyberknife. We are so lucky to have them right here in town. Do your research, but definitely visit swedish.org/Cyberknife prostate.
Dave Wyman here, and we've been fortunate to hear from 2 Swedish Cyberknife patients this year, Andy Ryder and Tim Hunter. Both heard about Cyberknife from our radio ads and completed successful treatment, raving about their experiences. Tim was impressed that treatment only took 5 days. Andy hosted a large international delegation the week after his treatment. If you, a friend, or a family member is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish Cyberknife here in Seattle. Go to swedish.org/Cyberknife prostate.
Hey, Brock Ewart here. For my friends at PCF Construction, it was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop. And boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. You know, Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, PCFgroup.com.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays are for football. That's why we're here to help you get your next DIY project done, even when the clock isn't on your side. Whether that's a new Filtrete filter or Bosch and Cobalt power tools, Lowe's has everything you need to feel like the MVP of DIY. So get it done and earn your Sunday. Shop now, in-store and online. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your priceless vinyl collection. Sure, you sleep on a futon because the money most people would have spent on a bed you spent on more records. But forget the fact that you can stream just about any song ever created for a few dollars a month. No, you need to listen to music in the most difficult way possible. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
This is where you hear your AL West champion Mariners in the playoffs. Seattle Sports.
The LJ way is.
You look at stuff like this and it's like, I don't want to come into an industry and work on a place that is going to compromise how I feel about myself. I get to go to work every day with good people and I get to enjoy what I do because I'm out there just trying to do right by people I care about, which is our community. We're going to see them at the grocery store. I'm going to see them at the sports tournaments. 2 friends of our daughters came in last night just on the lot, didn't know I was there. And it was cool because you got to take them through and they're going to buy a car for their first driver and a car for their kid going to school soon. These are the people that you're going to work with. And so you better make sure that your laundry's clean. I don't think Lee Johnson specifically, right, Speedway Chevrolet, where I'm at, I don't think they've ever had a problem with the community of being able to stand up and look them in the eye and know that they did their job well.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
The fall, well, it's a great time to reset your workouts on new stuff, and Top Fitness has some great deals going on right now. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and you've heard me talk about working out in your home gym. It's the best. From flooring to everything that goes in that gym, like treadmills, ellipticals, and strength training systems, well, Top Fitness provides it all. Top Fitness represents the very best brands available, like Washington's own Precor, yes, the company that created the elliptical, and Inspire Fitness, the leader in strength training machines, along with so many others. Give Top Fitness your room dimensions right now, and you know what? They'll do the rest. They'll do a complete fitness room design. And right now, get 0% interest financing, mention you heard it from me, and receive an additional $100 off any new treadmill or home gym. It's no secret that everyone, from personal trainers to professional athletes, love Top Fitness. Top Fitness has locations in Tukwila, Linwood, and Bellevue, or visit them online at topfitness.com for more info. That's Top Fitness, your best place for home fitness equipment.
Back to Mariners Pennant Push on Seattle Sports.
We are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you. We're going to be catching up with our guy Jon Morosi here at 3 p.m. He's going to join us here on set, right, Lefko?
Yeah.
All right.
If he gets done with his interviews.
Yeah,
he's all over MLB Network. He's a busy man. So
He's still up there?
You guys have high priority. He will be here.
Well, he knows that Ryan's here. Ryan is infinitely more popular post-career than during career. I think that's, it's amazing. We were walking down the street yesterday trying to go to the stadium, and it's like we were walking with the mayor. You're waving to everybody. Hi, Finn! Hi, Finn! Everybody was just...
I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to that.
I felt like I was a security guard.
Yeah.
I felt like I was leading him through the crowd. Like, no autographs, no pictures. Leave him alone. He's trying to work.
Man, I got nothing. Well, I will say this. As you guys know, I'm pretty transparent about my career. If you look at my career numbers, it's probably, it probably makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
It's just good. It's good to see you finally get your due. You're a very big popular figure in this city.
Well, thank you, man.
For good reason. So Jon Morosi will join us at 3 o'clock. Tim Kurkjian will join us at 4 p.m. as well. He'll be joining us from the booth, though, right? He'll be in the broadcast booth there?
Yeah.
So he's part of the ESPN radio broadcast for the ALCS, so stay tuned for that. Again, you guys can text in 866-979-3776. The Player Spotlight is presented by 3 Tree Roofing. So we talked about this just briefly when we opened, just talking about what happened last night. And Luis Castillo feels like you've got the right guy, just in terms of experience, temperament, the whole thing. Obviously, he's been sitting here watching. I'm curious how much scouting you would do when you were in the rotation and you're in a series with a team, and maybe you were going to pitch game 3 of the series, and you'd sit there and watch games 1 and 2. Well, are you a guy that would be sitting there taking notes? Are you just taking mental notes? Are you going back and watching film, and so you're kind of developing your game plan as those games went by?
I'm glad you brought that up. Do you remember at the end of the regular season, we actually had George Kirby. We were interviewing George during the show.
Yeah.
I was filling in for Dave, and I asked him, I said, hey, listen, do you find any difference in pitching of a series, this is regular season, pitching game 1 compared to game 2? Game 2, you get kind of like a little bit of a blueprint watching them from the top step of the dugout, seeing some tendencies and whatnot. He goes, oh, no, I feel like it's the same. I remember that. I was like, hold on a minute. For me, man, like game 2 or game 3, I love pitching those games. Game 1 is like, man, I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at here.
Right.
Now, I get it. They've seen in the first 2 games, but into a situation here where now you've got George Kirby, you've watched what they've done against the fastball and so on and so forth, so you've built enough. I went off and I asked so many different pitchers on you, like, hey, man, do you remember pitching game 2 of a series compared to game 1 or game 3 where you get a good look? Yes, and they're all like, absolutely, man, loved it, right?
It would seem that on the surface.
Yeah. So you 100% start to sort of put yourself 60 feet away from those hitters as you're watching from the top step. You can see the camera kept zooming in on Luis Castillo, who was watching intently. Now, on paper, from what Luis Castillo, the resume in the postseason, we saw him in 2022 just dominate the same team. Everything looks good, right? And you think about the last 5 starts, 086, 4-0. This is a great time for Luis Castillo. However, man, all that you can essentially push aside. You really can. But you do have to take into account what you're watching with your own eyes, regardless of what all this scouting report and what you've been doing a month ago and all that. Push that aside, but watch with your eyes what was going on the night before. It can be a huge asset to have that when you get that front row seat.
Do you put anything into the matchups during the regular season in terms of him? He struggled against the Blue Jays in his 2 starts this season. Does that have any impact?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does because like it's still, once it all boils down and the crowd goes crazy on their feet and you think, oh man, like you've done your warm-up tosses and the how big this game is. When all of a sudden you get that pitch comp telling you fastball away, boom, those seconds after that, all of a sudden I need to make this pitch. Now, going into that, if you're facing a Vlad, and I haven't even looked at the matchup, to be honest with you, what he's done throughout this lineup individually. But there's just certain guys that just have that kind of swing against you or that little memory you have of when I made this pitch, even though I made a really good pitch, I was able to see it easily. It wouldn't matter where I was pitching. If it was a postseason, regular season, spring training, there were certain guys I just knew they saw that pitch easily. And I asked them post-career, man, I did some digging. Like Justin Morneau, he's like, yeah, man, I can see your curveball from a mile away.
Really?
I was like, really? He goes, oh, dude. I was like, oh, man.
He just picked it up.
Yeah, and I knew because, dude, he was just, it's like he was salivating at the plate every time I threw a pitch. I was just so uncomfortable facing Justin Morneau.
You're
really
looking
good
at the schedule going, oh, the Twins.
Oh, 100%.
No.
And I was hoping they're going to be dumb enough to say, oh, no, left on left, got to take him out of the lineup. No. Because there's just dudes, man, they're 60 feet away. You're right there, and you can just see the approach, and they just look so comfortable against you. So that can definitely have an impact.
Now, something you and I were sort of debating in the radio booth last night was the level of urgency in pulling your starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Because it is the postseason. And you were hitting on this last night in the postgame, and I agree 100%. It is a world of difference being up 3-1 versus 2-2. I mean, it's not even really a debate or discussion at this point. I mean, it's just the idea of going into Game 5 2-2, knowing you're going to have to go back to Toronto versus you get this one tonight, you got a chance to close it out on your home field in front of your fan base, never get back on that plane back to Toronto. So it is night and day difference. But I'm curious, knowing that, keeping that in mind, what is your level of tolerance? How long is the leash?
The leash for Castillo?
For Castillo. Are you, as soon as he gets traffic, he gives up a couple runs? Where are you at with that?
High. Urgency's high. If it looks like they are just dialed in and he's making good pitches and there's really flush contact, I'm not going 2-2 into Game 5. Straight up, I am not going 2-2. I am all of a sudden, boom.
So you treat this like it's an elimination.
I really
game.
do, man. Because you mentioned the fact that you mentioned going back to Toronto for Game 6 and 7. I know they went 2-0, right? And amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, they're such a good team. It's going to be very difficult to pull that off. A third straight time in Game 6 and get to Game 7, man. Anything can happen. But you're in the driver's seat right now. If you want that driver's seat, or you were in that driver's seat. If you want that driver's seat back, if you don't want to ride shotgun again, you have to win tonight. So there's so much urgency on this game, 100%.
So you see him they're squaring him up. They're loud outs.
Right. And keep in mind, too, they know, and the conversations they've had, Pete Woodworth, man, is so in tune with his guys. They have such a good relationship, and that's been built over years and years and years, and watching and paying attention, and just having that transparency together. Him and Dan Wilson, they know these guys 30,000 times more than what we are seeing with our own eyes from where our vantage point, sitting next to Lefko in the booth, right?
Yeah, that's distracting.
Yeah. So they know, they have that feel on these guys. And so if you all of a sudden think, we watch a lot of baseball. All these fans watch a ton of baseball. They know Castillo. They're all smart. Fans are smarter than you think when they're seeing. However, if you might see something where, Castillo looks like he's dialed in and he gets taken out, I'm telling you, man, they know and have that feel for their guys, like I said, so many times over than what we do. So I think the level of urgency has to be through the roof.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Cannot go 2-2 straight up.
You're still in it, right? You're still, obviously, but home field
You're back
advantage.
To square one. You're back to the start of this series.
It becomes a 3-game series, and they've got home field advantage.
Right. You are back to square one where you're looking up a mountain at this Blue Jays team that just walloped the Yankees.
Yeah.
Now they've turned back into that where you had them where you're on top of them. Grounding and pounding, and all of a sudden you had them on the ropes.
Oh, I like the ground and pound.
You like that? Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Well, but the other part of that is what they're going to be asked to do. If you're up 3-1, they've got to sweep you. they've got to sweep the next
Exactly.
3 games where you've
Exactly.
got to win 1.
Right.
I mean, it's just
absolutely.
So it just speaks to how crucial this one is.
Yeah, it
It's
really is.
absolutely huge. The player spotlight is presented by 3 Tree Roofing. Well, he is here. We see him. He's going to join us next. He's one of the great voices in all of baseball. Always a great conversation with this guy in person. Jon Morosi will join us live here at Victory Hall on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series. It is Seattle Sports on 710.
ESPN senior MLB insider Jeff Passett with Brock and Salk.
How special was that game, was that win on Friday night over Detroit?
Just so awesome. Every city has those defining games for the franchises they root for. And it's even better knowing what came next. Go on the road and absolutely destroy them for 2 days.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
Do you need a new roof? Then visit 3treeroofing.com to get $500 off your roofing project by scheduling a free estimate. 3Tree Roofing's certified team builds a custom plan for your home using top-tier materials with industry-leading warranties. All of their install crews are factory certified to ensure that your roof can handle any weather Seattle can throw our way. Don't wait until leaks turn into expensive damage this rainy season. Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today and secure your $500 discount. 3Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Everyone wants to get the best deal they can when they buy a car. What about when you want to sell your car, though? Of course, you want to get the most money possible, but how can you get the most you can without trying to sell it yourself? Stacey Rost here, and that's where my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn step in. Not only will they buy your car today, but that's just the beginning. Once they resell your old car, they send you another check for 50% of the profit of the sale of your old car. They've already given back over $800,000 to their customers. You can go to the website to see pictures of giant checks for yourself. It's such a great offer, and I know exactly what you're wondering right now. How are they able to do it? It's not a consignment because you get paid for your car right away. Wayscar Ford pays you right up front. They buy your car for fair market value. No more insurance, no more maintenance, no more storage, no more headaches. Then they pay you half the profit when they resell your car. It's just that simple. Get the most money possible for your old car at Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn and let them do the work. WayscarFord.com. That's WayscarFord.com.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all 3 like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Hundreds of vehicles on the ground, 8 dealerships, 14 brands, all in one location. Visit West Hills Autoplex. We have more brands in one location than anywhere else in Washington State, import or domestic, new or pre-owned. We make finding your perfect vehicle easy, and that means a remarkable car buying experience for you. Skip the hassle with West Hills' streamlined buying experience and feel confident buying from your neighborhood family-owned dealerships. West Hills Autoplex, Auto Centerway exit, Highway 3, Bremerton.
Baseball's postseason is here. Seattle Sports Playoff coverage is presented by Honey Bucket, 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, the Mariners trying to wash away last night's game against the Blue Jays. Series now 2-1. Seattle out in front, still in control, and they send Luis Castillo to the hill in Game 4 of the ALCS tonight, live from T-Mobile Park. You can catch it all starting at 4:30 with the pregame show. 5:30 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour of Wyman and Bob is brought to you by K2 Vision RLE.
Welcome to the Mariners Pennant Push.
The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
Special pregame coverage counting you down to first pitch in the American League Championship Series.
It is on its way. It is history. Cal Raleigh stands alone.
The countdown to first pitch starts now.
We are live at Victory Hall, taking you up to Mariners pregame at 4:30. Game 4 of the American League Championship Series coming your way. Luis Castillo on the hill facing off against Max Scherzer in a crucial, huge game for this Seattle Mariner team. And here to join us and make us all feel better about last night. You know him, you love him, you see him all over MLB TV, MLB Network. He does a fantastic job with us each and every week. Jon Morosi is here. How are you, my friend?
Doing great, Bob. I got to tell you this, and Ryan, great to be with you. Mike, thanks for the invitation to be here. I walked to the ballpark today from our hotel downtown. So a nice little 35-minute walk. Loved it. I felt like I was reacquainting myself with this city that I love so much, that I lived in a long time ago, but was able to really kind of feel the vibe in the city today. And it just to be able to cover a game like this in Seattle. I know that last night's game did not go the Mariners' way, but everybody here at Victory Hall who's enjoying this amazing atmosphere, appreciate where we are, appreciate what we're doing. Postseason baseball, ALCS in Seattle. A lot of gratitude today.
JP, how does it compare? You do this every year. How does it compare to other cities you go to when you're talking about, you mentioned walking down the street, or just the buzz around the ballpark, in and outside of the ballpark, comparing to other cities?
There has never been a place that I have covered that I can think back on now. Boston 2004 comes to mind because of the history and how excited they were. Chicago 2016, and Seattle of now is right in that conversation. And here's the reason, is because the people that are here wearing the Mariner gear, all of us, none of us have ever seen a Seattle Mariner team in the World Series. And there's that quality of baseball when you are yearning and striving to see something that's never happened before. It's never happened before. Yeah. And I think to the fans here, you feel that. There's this anticipation that, with all due respect, in Boston now, they've won some championships in the last couple of decades. It's not going to feel that same way. And right now, it has that immediacy and the passion and the wanting and the striving to do something that we've never seen. Yeah. So I think that for that reason, Ryan, in this great city, the weather is perfect. This is perfect postseason weather. And so I think for all the time and place and the people and the noise in there, I'm telling you, Third inning yesterday, I know it did not go the Mariners' way, but I looked down from my seat in the press box, and everyone, all of you, were standing up. And that just, to me, third inning of Game 3, and how much the city is invested. I'll say that I've not experienced, probably since the Cubs in 2016, a fan base as invested in every pitch as this fan base is right now.
We're not used to being here, and we know what it means.
That's right.
I mean, you're 2 games away from a place this organization has never been.
Right.
The only organization to never make it to a World Series. And we're right there. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So every pitch, every moment feels do or die. And in this game, I don't think we're overstating it. Ryan and I were just talking about this in the last segment. How huge is this game? When you're talking about the difference of coming into Game 5 3-1 or 2-2, because you don't want to go back to Toronto.
Right.
You're 2 games away. You want to have them in a position where they got to sweep 3 games in a row versus you winning 1 more.
One of the biggest games in franchise history today. We're hours away from it. That's not hyperbole to say it. It's one of the most important games the Seattle Mariners have ever played, is this one. And it's because of exactly what you're describing. That if it's 2-2, all of a sudden the home field advantage goes back to Toronto. They know they're playing at least 1 more home game. And that, I think, changes everything about this game and this series. Now, I think one of the other big topics today that I know is relevant to what we're discussing here is the role of Bryan Woo and how he now factors in. Now that we know Bryce Miller is going to start Game 5, which, by the way, in my view, is the right decision. Miller, he is the known. As much as you can know something in the context of a playoff series, you saw Miller pitch very well against this team already once in this series. Now you have a chance, different atmosphere, different environment. It's now on the road and not the same look. It's not the same ballpark. I think it's a smart decision by the Mariners to have Miller start. And Woo, I love that he's on the roster. You can deploy him in whatever way he's going to make the biggest difference. That might be today, it might be tomorrow, it might be later. But because of the way this has played out, as much as yesterday, Bob, to your point, was a tough outcome, it actually wasn't the worst kind of a postseason loss. The worst kind of a postseason loss is the postseason loss in which you use all of your A relievers and still lose.
Point, yeah.
They did not use their A relievers. So the Seattle Pen right now, again, you didn't want to have that be the outcome yesterday. But as a consequence, your highest leverage relievers had the day off, plus you have Woo. So I think if George Kirby was pitching that way in an elimination game, he would have been out maybe in the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
So you manage that game fundamentally differently than you manage Game 4 differently than you did in Game 3, because now it's a little more of an urgent situation. Plus, your best assets in the bullpen, Ryan, are rested and ready to go, and that includes Bryan Woo.
Yeah, that's a great point too. The fact that, because people ask me, oh man, was that the worst way to lose? Well, kind of, but you didn't burn, like you said. You didn't go with Vargas where you had to get 5 outs, and all of it, Munoz, and has to get 5 outs, cover that, get up, get down, sit down, and then back up again. I want to ask you this, JP, because we get so hyper-focused on the Seattle Mariners for good reason, obviously. Here we are covering this team. But both these teams, and I didn't say that, the Mariners, for example, are rolling out into Game 3 last night thinking, we got this made, we're all good, we're going to take the foot off the gas. But you've been in both clubhouses, you've been around the players, yesterday and today. First of all, starting with the Mariners, we'll get to the Blue Jays in a second, but the Mariners, do you feel like there was any kind of different, change in the mindset going into Game 3 after winning those 2 games in Toronto, where they felt like they were in the driver's seat and they could kind of take a step back? There's a little bit less sense of urgency. And on the flip side with the Blue Jays, how resilient they were to come out and did what they did last night?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think the Mariners got overconfident at all. They scored first. They had a 2-0 lead. And then Kirby just missed with his fastball basically for a whole inning. And when you do that against a good team, you're going to get beat. I mean, there's really that game, I don't think, had anything to do with a lack of focus or concentration or taking anything lightly. That had everything to do with the way that George Kirby located his fastball for basically 2 innings, and especially the 3rd. That's it. There was nothing more profound to be read into this. I do think that the Jays now have a higher level of confidence. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. needed a game like that. There's a little bit of pressure building on him, even though, to be fair, in game one, Vladdy's first 2 outs were both above 100 miles an hour. Okay, so he was due for some better luck, and he had some better luck yesterday.
Yeah.
And Alejandro Kirk got going, and now Kirk is going to bat higher in the lineup. They dropped Barger down. They adjusted some things, I think, based on what they expect from the matchup against Castillo. So I look at yesterday as not a case of the Mariners in any way taking the foot off the accelerator, nor do I look at it as the Jays rallying or in some way, shape, or form going outside of themselves to desperately climb back in the series. If anything, the Jays did the thing that baseball players are most attuned at doing, which is they turned the page and they put together some better at-bats and had a better result. And it wasn't a matter of, I think if anything, they adopted almost a regular season mentality, which was you set everything else aside. If you're a member of the Toronto Blue Jays club arriving here for game 3, you said to yourself, what? We got to win a 3-game series in this ballpark. We got to win a 3-game series. In some order, win a 3-game series. If we win a 3-game series, we get to play baseball back in Toronto. And they're now 1 win away from doing that. And that's that. I think what good teams, Ryan and Bob, for me, in the postseason, they don't take an amplified postseason-like approach. They're already good, detail-oriented players who are able to just take that same approach into October and not allow the anxiety of the moment to upset their equilibrium. And I think, to be fair, Toronto, they got beat by the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Some of their fans were panicked. They came back and won a bullpen game to clinch the series.
Yeah, how about that?
The Mariners, they had a chance to clinch in Detroit. That game all of a sudden turned sideways on them. All the questions about, did Dan Wilson mismanage the bullpen, et cetera, they come back 2 days later and win an epic Game 5 here. So we have seen both of these teams turn the page well. To win the World Series, you have to be able to turn the page well, and I think we have seen 2 really good teams do similar things in that regard this month.
Yeah, and to their credit, I was watching their post-game interviews after Game 2, talking about the Blue Jays, and John Schneider's up there, and there's no panic. I mean, they weren't happy by any stretch, but it was just very matter-of-fact, like, no, look, it's a good team over there. We're going to roll them back out. We're going to face them out there. We're looking forward to it. I mean, and what made me feel better is I saw that in the Mariners clubhouse last night when I was in there. They weren't happy. It wasn't celebratory by any stretch, but it was just very matter-of-fact, like, yeah, that game sucks. It's baseball. It happens. We're going to go back. There's a reason that team's over there. They're a good team, and we're going to go out there and run it back tomorrow.
Well, and think about the Blue Jays, the makeup of their club for a second. You've got a World Series MVP in George Springer. Max Scherzer, 2 World Series rings. Tonight for Max, his 26th career postseason start. He has basically an entire season of high-intensity playoff starts in his career. I don't know how Max is going to pitch. He's obviously dealt with injuries and inconsistency this year. I don't know how he's going to pitch, but he's not going to be intimidated. That I can promise you. And I think it's important to take a step back here. You know, we're watching history here. Tonight, theoretically, possibly, could be the final postseason start of Max's career. Could be. He's going to Hall of Fame. We know that. The last time he started a game in the postseason, it was the World Series in 2023. His team won it. Okay, the first time he started a postseason game, I looked up the roster today in the lineup. He faced the New York Yankees, Game 2 Division Series in 2011. The first hitter he faced in the postseason, Derek Jeter. Then he faced Curtis Granderson, Robinson Cano, Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira. It's a different generation of player. That's how long Max has been doing this. So he's going to tie in the wild card era Clemens, Glavine, and Maddox for the 26th start, which is tied for 4th in that era, behind only Pennant, Kershaw, and Verlander. These are the greats of the realm that we're seeing, okay? So I don't know how Max is going to pitch.
Hopefully
I don't know.
Poorly.
Pardon me?
Hopefully poorly.
Well, I could care less about any history right now. I want to see him get absolutely smacked around. Now, speaking of that, JP, now, you know, based off what he did at the end of the season, he was left off the roster in the last round. He was throwing sim games to, matter of fact, Sean Casey's son.
Sure. Yes,
you know, a lot of minor leaguers up in Toronto. He didn't even go to New York with the team. He was up there throwing. what can the Mariners expect from Max Scherzer beyond the, obviously, some of the accolades and some of the 26-game, 500th career game and everything else? But from a scouting report point of view, what can the Mariners and the fans expect what they're up against?
Yeah,
with Max
it's
Scherzer?
a great question, Ryan, because I think we're going to see him. He's going to rely much more. If this is the first time you've seen Max pitch this season, he's going to rely much more on movement than velocity. If you think about what you saw classically from Max, the high riding fastballs, he still, I think, has enough in the tank to where he might be able to snap off some really, really great breaking pitches. But I'll say this, Ryan, he is not going to come in here and pace himself to go 7 or 8 innings. This is probably a 5, maybe 6 inning start if things go great for him. I think he's going to empty the tank. And if he goes 4 innings, but it's 4 innings and 1 run, that's a good outcome. Because remember, similarly, when you look at Toronto's bullpen yesterday, because the score was so lopsided, they didn't have to go to their big guys. So there's a little more flexibility there for them. They have Chris Bassett, who was Max's longtime teammate going back to the Mets. That certainly could factor into this game as a bridge. They also have Eric Lauer they could bring in the middle of the game, maybe depending if they want to go right-left. But I think Max's velo, look for it to be more low 90s. Look for him to really live more on the corners. Cutter, slider, that type of approach. I think it's a different Max than what we saw from him at his peak in Detroit and Washington.
Mariners have a bit of a different lineup going tonight. You were over there earlier, right? So did you hear anything about, we saw Robles make that catch in right field last night, and he kind of saw moving around that shoulder, and I don't know if anything happened because he's not in the lineup tonight. They've got Canzone in right field. Victor's not in the lineup. He hasn't been hitting, but he's a decidedly better defensive player than Canzone is. So I'm wondering, and then we see Leo Rivas in the lineup hitting ninth, which I kind of like.
Yes.
What do you know? What is your feeling about that?
I do think there might be some relationship to the Robles situation and then the decision today. Let's put it this way. If this was a regular season game, I think you would see exactly what's happened today, which is he would definitely need some time off after a collision like that, considering how eerily similar that play was to the one in San Francisco that resulted in the longer-term injury that he had this season. I also think that it makes sense you get a little more lefty bats in the lineup, right? When you consider that by having Canzone play right, what Leo's able to do. And then I think you get Polanco maybe off his feet a little bit. You get a little more defense at second base. So while maybe you're sacrificing a little outfield defense, you're upgrading probably your infield defense in terms of range with Rivas. I think overall it's the right decision, and especially when you consider the struggles that Robles has had offensively. I think probably, I don't think this is strictly injury related. I think it is injury plus performance, and also in the best interest maybe for Polanco too, for the long scope of things, maybe getting a little more athleticism on the field. And I think that Rivas can give you a different kind of at-bat. Rivas plays a little more small ball contact oriented than Robles does right now, and I think it's a different type of at-bat. How many times have we talked about this team where sometimes when they get a little bit stale offensively, the at-bats look a little bit too similar one to the next.
Yeah, for sure.
And Rivas gives you a different at-bat.
Hey, one second, right? I'm curious for last night, when you got a game that's out of hand the way it was, and I know Cal hit a home run late in the game, which is great. Would you have liked to have seen Dan, like, all right, Harry or Garver, get back there. Let's get Cal off his feet from squatting, give him a break, maybe throw, somebody else out there. Just get some of the reserves, get Mastroboni out there, just to get some of the starters off their feet for a couple of innings when it looked like, all right, you're not going to come back from 9 runs down.
I'm sure it was talked about. I'm sure it was referenced in the dugout. I don't know that Dan is, and I certainly don't want to speculate on it at all, but I would guess that Dan, being a catcher himself, would have checked in with Cal 6th, 7th inning and said, listen, do you want to get off your feet a little bit here?
Yeah.
I think Cal loves being behind the plate for every inning that he possibly can catch.
There's no question
And
there.
so but I would imagine that, Bob, for me, would have been a conversation in the dugout, manager to catcher, do you want a breather here? And if he was feeling like he needed one, I'm sure he would have gotten it. But I think at this moment in time, clearly Cal felt good to finish the game. I also thought, very importantly, was that Naylor didn't exit super early either. Because I thought, he winced a little bit that play in game 2. A little worried about him. He he had to stretch, that play in the
catch.
first, and in the first inning even, he had to stretch, he had to make another catch high too. I was a little worried about him, but I think the fact that he was in there, he was taking ground balls today before the game, which I didn't see him take yesterday. So I think that Naylor, for me, seems to be feeling better today than he was yesterday, just based on his level of pregame activity. That, I think, is a massively important sign, because I think Naylor is rapidly approaching. I mean, Cal is one of one, but outside of the Cal, Julio, and now Polanco tier, I think Naylor is as important to this team as almost anybody else.
For sure. Yeah, real quick, we talked about Brian Wu, and I think I was just thinking about this when you talk about Max Scherzer being, whatever is significant. Pitch count-wise, I mean, there's no way. It's been nearly a month.
Correct.
Right? So do we have any idea if they talked about in regards to pitch count and how long he could even go if he was getting the game?
Ryan, it's a great question. I would say that he's probably in the 30-pitch range, because, again, that was what he did during the simulated game in Toronto. And that's why the decision with Miller, I'm not saying that it was telegraphed, but it doesn't surprise me, because the last time we saw Wu throw was in a sim setting, and it was like 2 innings.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, he wasn't trying to go 5.
Yeah.
And so if you want to have a classic start to begin Game 5, Miller's your guy.
Absolutely.
And then hold Wu back for the highest impact moment in the game, in the series, that you can possibly come up with, and then put him in the game right then. That I think is, and remember, this is a roster spot the Mariners didn't have last time. And I'll also say this, I think Hancock, the way he's looked so far, I think he's not a leverage guy, but he's become someone that you trust in a way that maybe he wasn't when the series started, because I thought he pitched pretty well in Toronto.
Yeah.
To where now that you've seen a little proof of concept now with Hancock, I feel pretty good about him. He's not ahead of Wu, but if you get an extra inning situation, and if this game goes 12, maybe the 12th inning is an Emerson Hancock inning.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they use all those guys. Really, the bullpen you feel really good about, for me, outside of 2 names. And we saw them both last night.
Yeah.
Caleb Ferguson and Luke Jackson. I don't want to see them unless
and
that's all that's left.
They pitched last night for that reason.
Right.
And I think that was the idea. You pitch them in Game 3, you give, and again, you might have an even better effectiveness for Brash, for Munoz, for Spire, for Bizzardo tonight, because they've had a little extra rest. So again, yesterday was not ideal. We realize that. But the manner in which they lost allowed them to rest the bullpen, which is what it's about. It's about winning the series, not winning Game 3. And the Mariners still, as we speak today, have a very good chance to win this series.
Yeah. Quickly, do you think there's any we talked about whether Cal should have been in or out of the game, and he did hit that home run late. We saw Randy hit the home run late. Do you think, and Gino came up with a base hit finally. Do you think there's any, I was asking Ryan this earlier, just for those individually, just looking at it go, finally, something positive.
100%.
Finally, I mean, because we've been waiting for both those guys to do something.
Yes.
And it was in a blowout, didn't win, but does that maybe ease the stress a bit?
Yes, and especially for a Rosarena. He's a catalyst for this team, should be a catalyst for this team. And really, this postseason, he's been pretty quiet throughout. Yeah. We're still waiting for the Randy Rosarena of 2020 to come back, and that's a long time ago now. Yeah. Okay, so I think he's due to sort of reinstate and re-announce himself to be a great postseason player, and I would say no time like Game 4 for that to happen.
Well, coming up, we're going to talk more about some of the changes to this rotation and how it may impact this series moving forward as we continue live from Victory Hall right here on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series. It is Seattle Sports on 710.
Welp, the Blue Jays finally showed up here in the ALCS.
Deep to right field, that ain't coming back. And the Blue Jays now lead it 13-4.
On to Game 4 tonight at T-Mobile, where the Mariners look to bounce back.
This is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back.
And pull within 1 win of the World Series. First pitch at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed the musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
At Bible Law Group, our team reflects the same lessons learned by our founder, James Bible, while playing for legendary Husky coach Don James. Coach James always said it's amazing what gets done when nobody claims credit. That's the philosophy we carry into every case, because your victory is what matters at Bible Law Group. When your legal problems hit biblical levels and you feel like you're stuck in a lion's den of litigation, you need a legal team that won't back down. At Bible Law, we've secured over $40 million in settlements for our clients, and we're ready to fight for you. Find us online at BibleLawGroup.com.
Introducing the new ESPN Fox One bundle. Unlock all of ESPN and all of Fox One with one unbeatable price. Catch the biggest games, college football, NBA, NHL, and more on ESPN. Stream your faves, Big Noon Saturday, the World Series, and NASCAR on Fox One. All for just $39.99 a month. That's 20% off. The ESPN Fox One bundle. Offer valid for eligible subscribers only. Access content from each service separately. Savings compared to purchasing both plans separately. See stream.espn.com for complete terms and conditions.
Hey, it's Reese Davis. Let's be honest, you can't keep an eye on everything unless you've got Blink Outdoor 4 cameras. While you're focused on the game, Blink's keeping an eye on your home.
With up to 2-year battery life and with Sync Module XR, you can cover more space without constant maintenance. No wires, no worries. Blink helps keep an eye on what matters most. Get Blink today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
If you use the carpool lanes along SR 167 after October 20th, you will need a Flex Pass set to HOV mode to ride free. That's a change. Having Good to Go always costs less than pay by mail. That is not a change. Learn more at goodtogo167.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Shirley. We offer 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 24 months on new roofs. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
It's big, it's green, and it's crawling this way. It's $105,000 in cash, and it's here for you. Survive the piggy apocalypse every Friday night in October with hourly drawings from 6 till 10 p.m. with a chance to unearth up to 10 grand. And don't mind the zombies, they won't bite much. Fuel prices got you scared? Save up to 25 cents per gallon at Lummi Bay Market next to Silver Reef by using your Reef Rewards card. Silver Reef Casino Resort, located off I-5 exit 260.
Boss won't let you have the day off for the Mariners playoff game? We have your solution.
Jorge Polanco, Mr. October.
Hear every Mariners game live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now the company's changed, or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-466-3300. That's 206-466-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Lowe's knows pros want more. Join My Lowe's Pro Rewards for free to get $20 off your first qualifying purchase of $100 or more just for signing up. Plus, enjoy free standard shipping and more ways to save on your next job. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer valid for new members only. Not valid with any other discount. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowes.com/pro-loyalty for details. Subject to change.
This hour of Wyman and Bob is brought to you by K2 Vision RLE.
This is Mariners Pennant Push
on Seattle Sports.
Continue live from Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you. Our thanks to Jon Morosi, who joined us in the previous segment. If you guys missed any part of that, all of this will be available on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. You've got the NLCS going on right now, Ryan, and the Dodgers are out to a 1-0 lead on the Brewers in the bottom of the first inning. So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, taking care of that game 3, and you see the Brewers trying to mix and match of that pitching. You know, with Ashby kicking it off, only went a third of an inning, and then Big Mizorowski kind of doing that bulk order. That's something he did. Yeah, at the end of the year, they said he wasn't going to stop, but they wanted to try and get him ready for that bullpen. But man, I mean, he's just electric 100 with that extension.
Yeah, that's big. So right now, again, Dodgers up 1-0 in this one, but. We were just talking about this with Jon Morosi, and that is Brian Wu coming out of the bullpen. What's the optimal situation for him? He's not a guy you want to, especially since he hasn't pitched since, again, I believe it's the 19th of September. I might be off a day or two on that, but almost a month to the day since he's pitched. Now, I know he's done the side work and all of that, but he's not a guy you want to bring in the middle of a mess. Hypothetically, Luis gets in trouble and there's traffic out there on the base paths. That's not where you want to bring in Wu, right? You want to get him his first action with a clean inning, I would think. To state the obvious, right?
You'd hope so. And a couple of things you got to factor in with Brian Wu. It's on paper you're looking and go, yeah, Brian Wu's back on the roster, great. It's been a month. The type of injury you've had, as well as this pec injury, it's kind of like this in-between injury where it's not this major injury. We've had all this time to come back, and you kind of wash it away. You kind of caught in between, like, what's it going to feel like when I go max effort that a simulated game can't offer me? So that's one thing, too. You haven't faced live hitters for a month, and this is a different speed, too, in the playoffs. It really is. We've seen that. The other part is, too, and we talked about this with JP Morosi, is the pitch count. Man, you're talking about he's sim gaming through 30 pitches, just a couple innings. So it's going to be difficult when you get to this place where the adrenaline's pumping through you. If he comes in, fresh inning, if he looks good, you bring him back out. Then you got to start to second guess, can I push him for that third and maybe fourth inning? But in regards to what him bridging a gap, he could be a huge weapon. But I'm telling you, give him that clean inning, see if he's getting to that typical Brian Wu 0-1, 0-2, and then just attack the top of the strike zone. If you're seeing the resemblance of what we saw against that Houston Astros team, you know what? Get him to a place where you're comfortable. The workload is good, where you're comfortable saying he's going to be a weapon later on in this series. You don't want to push it too far, and at the same time, too, you don't want a situation where, man, he's 2-0, 2-1 trying to muscle through pitches because the game's speeding up on him, and then all of a sudden that confidence just drops, and now all of a sudden you're stuck with a guy who's taking up a roster spot essentially is not going to be effective.
We saw him head out to the bullpen during the game last night, which we're all sort of going, oh, are they going to use him tonight? What's going on there? Dan Wilson was asked about that after the game.
I think, a good chance for him tonight to just get out there and get acclimated in case that's a place where he comes out of, later in the series. And so, a chance to just get comfortable out there and see what it's like. So that's really what it was about tonight for Brian.
How big is that? Just something just to get him used to it, just to walk out there in the middle of the game. This is where you're going to be. This is how it's going to feel, with a stadium full of people. Is that a step you think is crucial?
Yeah, I do. He's never done it before, number one. He's watched his buddies do it now for a week or so. So you go back and forth with the emotion of it. Man, I wish I was out there. Man, this looks intimidating. Man, this looks different. Watching your buddies do it. You know, JP Morosi made a really good point. In the last series, when the team was at the start of the series, when they were in Toronto, Emerson Hancock had a chance to get his feet wet. That's massive, man. Remember, Emerson Hancock was that guy that was a sixth starter, filling in a rotation spot. Then he had a chance to come back as a bullpen piece. He looked really good out of the bullpen. Velocity was up. That sweeper all of a sudden came to life. That pitch we're talking about, that swing and miss type stuff came alive. You need to get your feet wet, and you need to see, like JP said, you need to see what you have, and what these pitchers have in store, how they respond, how they react when everyone's on their feet. So that's super crucial for Brian Will. I don't know when is a good time. You don't want to be blown out and bring him in for two reasons. Number one, you don't want to be losing the game. That's huge. And number two, you don't want a situation where he's coming into innings that aren't high leverage situations either. So it's really a difficult time to try and get him in. But you got to see what he's all about on a short leash.
Well, I'd also think you'd want him here at home, right? You don't want his first appearance. Now it may work out that way. We'll see. But looking at the plan, the optimal situation is, all right, we're going to have them start a clean inning. Hopefully the team's got a lead. Yeah. Hopefully they're in a good spot. But more importantly, he does it in front of the home fans.
For sure. And look, saying all that, not pitching for a month and so on and so forth, one thing that Brian Wu did so effectively this year, and the big reason why he was able to get 6+ innings, is because he had the best ability out of anyone in this rotation. When he's on the ropes, the camera would zoom in if you're paying attention. Big breath, all of a sudden, big breath. He had that thing about him where he kept that presence and he was slowing down the moment. He did that in Houston. I can't emphasize. I know it's regular season, so it kind of gets brushed off a little bit. That series in Game 1 to set that tone the way he did. He was in that fourth inning. It was loud. The roof was closed. It's a close game. And he's got runners in scoring position, and he just went on the attack, and he had those big breaths. So a lot of times we saw that during the season, too, where he's able to push through to get through 6 innings. So he has that in him, and you have to give him a little bit. He's earned the right to be in a high-leverage spot and to earn that moment. Because of everything he's done this year. And again, I said this, about 30 minutes ago. Pete Woodworth, Dan Wilson know these guys inside and out. They've seen them up close. They know how they react. They've talked to them, had the dialogue after a good and bad outing. And so I think that he's really earned that spot to get in a high-leverage spot, even though he hasn't done it before.
Well, in hitting on that, I was asking you about this last night when you were a relief pitcher. How many pitches did you need? What was that process like? They'd tell you, all right, if somebody's on, you get ready. But you were a starter. You became a reliever. I don't know. I don't know that fans appreciate how hard that can be, especially for a guy like Wu, who was your ace the entire season. He was the best pitcher, your all-star. And now we're asking him in the most crucial part of the season, where history for the franchise is on the line, to be that bullpen guy that he's never been.
I'll be honest with you. It was easy for me because I was a starter in the minor leagues, but then I all of a sudden got a chance to be in the bullpen. So I went back and forth. So I had that. But look, coming out of the bullpen in the minor leagues is one thing. You get to the big leagues, and I remember J.J. Putz he took me under his wing to show me how to get ready for a game. Chris Rietzma, another one. All these Blue Jay fans probably know who he is because he's Canadian. Chris Rietzma had really helped me out with that. I would get up, and I would just have to throw 20 pitches that are absolutely dialed in to feel like I was okay. They pulled me aside and said, dude, you have to come up with a way and a solution that once you get loose, you crawl hop down the mound, you need 5 pitches, and then that's it. You've got to be comfortable throwing 5, saying, yep, I'm ready in 2 hitters. Yep, I'm ready in 1 hitter. And they said, otherwise you are not going to get through a season, and you're going to start to decline when you're trying to push through once you get to July. So I had that in my back pocket. Matter of fact, it helped me when I went from, because I came up as a reliever. I went into the rotation for the bulk of it, my time here in Seattle. Then I went back to the bullpen at the end of my career.
So you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, I did. Well, I kind of did, but it doesn't even compare in the minor leagues and what it does here. The adrenaline's seeping through. But for me, on the flip side, and I've talked to Emerson Hancock about this, he asked me, how do you transition from one to the other? Honestly, it served me as a starting pitcher to take that bullpen mentality, that quick, empty the tank to have success, because I'm an over-processor. But, man, I'm telling you, that's the other part we didn't even touch on. For Brian Wu to step into this, he's been starting all year, MLB All-Star, pitching in a rotation where you got the 5 days. Then all of a sudden, now you're asked, it's so loud, hey, we need you ready in 3 hitters. It's tough. It is really tough. So he's got to find a way. But look, man, he's he's a beast, dude. He really is. I know he seems super calm. You watch him go about it.
He's more intense this year.
Very intense. Yes.
Do you see him, picking the brains of Munoz and Bizzardo and Spire and Brash and
I'll be honest with you,
talking to them about, all right, what do you do? How do you
I think he's more picking the brain of Logan Gilbert, Castillo from that Game 5. And Emerson Hancock. Hey, guys, it looks like I'm coming out of the bullpen. What was it like? Because how familiar is he with Logan, right? They've been on the bench, the whole time, and he's like, hey, man, you had to come in from the bullpen. How was that? Dude, it's an adrenaline rush. Just make sure you do A. Make sure you do B. I think that's way more valuable than talking to Munoz, to be honest with you.
You don't think Munoz has
he doesn't know
anything
what
to offer?
Yeah, he's got nothing.
All right, coming up, we're going to dive into the best ways to try and neutralize this Blue Jays lineup as we continue live from Victory Hall, right here on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series. It is Seattle Sports on 710.
Well, the Blue Jays finally showed up here in the ALCS.
Deep to right field, that ain't coming back. And the Blue Jays now lead it 13-4.
On to Game 4 tonight at T-Mobile, where the Mariners look to bounce back.
This is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back.
And pull within one win of the World Series. First pitch at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Dave Wyman here, and after 20 years of living in our home, our window seals started breaking. That's when I called Harley Exteriors. They're huge fans of our teams and regular listeners at the station, but what really sold me was their Olympic Series windows, built right here in Washington, designed for Pacific Northwest homes and climate. That means cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. They're beautiful windows that last up to 60 years, and they'll help with noise, too. Harley Exteriors knows you've been spending a ton on playoff tickets, so they have a special deal for Seattle Sports listeners. No interest and no payments for an entire year. Also, buy one window and get the second one 40% off, and take another $200 off your entire project. They're the friendliest team and so easy to work with. You call the number, and the person on the other line asks, "How can I make you smile today?" Just give them a ring and tell them you heard our ad. Call 833-HARLEY. That's 833-HARLEY, or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Construction. It was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop, and boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com, or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, pcfgroup.com.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization, video streams, and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Home of your American League West Division champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
New siding doesn't have to break the bank. We offer affordable options that add value and protection to your home. This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. And while we're at it, ask about our roofing, windows, decking, and gutter services for even more savings. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free siding inspection. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
If you use the SR-167 Express toll lanes after October 20th without a Good-to-Go account, you'll receive a bill in the mail. That is a change. A Good-to-Go pass saves $2 on every toll. That is not a change. Learn more at goodtogo167.com.
Hey 12's Steve Rabel here for Virginia Mason Franciscan Health. For men 40 and older, a simple PSA blood test can help intercept prostate cancer early. You can get the simple test before the Crucial Catch game October 20th at Ticketmaster Tailgate.
This is Mariners Pennant Push on Seattle Sports.
We continue live from Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you. We're going to talk with Tim Kurkjian coming up at 4 p.m. He'll join us from the booth over at T-Mobile Park. Is ALCS game number 4, just an hour plus away.
Feeling different than what you were 24 hours ago?
I'm excited, nervous. Yeah, very similar to yesterday, but this feels much more, as you and I talked about, much more do or die, even though it's not, even if they, obviously the series doesn't end if they lose, but just the magnitude of going up 3-1 versus being 2-2.
Huge.
It is so big. Oh. It is so big. So there's just, I want to see him treat this game like it is an elimination game. Like whatever it takes, whoever. We got to get Luis out of there in this inning. I mean, hopefully he doesn't struggle and not faced with that. But you need to, we talked about going to the bullpen a batter or two early as opposed to a batter or two late. Yeah. Do that. I'll be okay if they say, well, why didn't you leave them in there for another hitter? No. I'd rather be talking about that than, boy, you should have gotten him out of there a couple of guys earlier. So that's how they need to treat this game.
Yeah, I agree. And, JP Morosi talked about, well, it was an elimination game yesterday, therefore there's like a different way of looking at things in regards to like George Kirby. Do you go a batter too late? And I get that, but man, at this point moving forward, to go 3-1 to 2-2, it is straight hitter by hitter. I'm not saying panic button, but short leash in this situation where, if we have to turn this into a bullpen day, how about it, man? I just can't fathom, and this is what I'm nervous about today. I was nervous about the reason I was nervous yesterday is because I didn't want.
You thought they were taking them lightly.
Not taking them lightly, just kind of they had this mindset, and which is again you can't help it.
They were comfortable.
They were comfortable. Yeah, they're like, oh, this is just we're just having fun now, which is great. Like play loose. I get it. Like Bobby Magiano has talked about this, the hitting coach of the Mariners. At the end of the season, he goes, man, everyone's playing really loose. It's great. It's easy, and everyone's taking that extra breath and not pressing, and this is even during that Astros series as well. But man, I just, to me, That's what I was a little bit concerned about yesterday. But now it's a situation. You go 2-2, you guarantee you go back to that Rogers Center.
And they've got home field advantage.
Home field advantage. You go right back to square one.
I just love the idea of them being faced with the proposition of we gotta sweep the rest of the games. We gotta win 3 in a row.
Yeah.
If you're the Blue Jays, I love that idea, that
Absolutely.
pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if they do, you got 2 at home, it's still the pressure is all on them at that point. So, and look, I don't look at last night's game and go, well, the Mariners they weren't as intense as they should have been. And look, Kirby started getting touched up, and you talked about he got away with mistakes as much as it looked like, man, he's dealing in those first 2 innings. You talked about that was more that he got away with some things and then repeated those mistakes in the 3rd inning, and at that point it was the Blue Jays who sort of adjusted to what they were seeing, and they hit everything hard. They hit it like they knew what was coming.
For sure. And it's another thing too, this morning, I was down at a coffee shop in Edmonds, Stillhouse, shout out. Best coffee shop in the Northwest.
You're trying to get a free coffee here?
yeah. But I was down there and someone said, oh, what about the game last night? He goes, oh, so much for home field advantage. I was like, huh? I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll be honest with you, that home field advantage was a factor in those first 2 innings. Because like I said, George Kirby was missing a little bit. And they were pressing because they were feeling it. But just like we talked about in the last segment, all of a sudden he was missing too much. And you put it, regardless, you don't care. It doesn't matter if you play on the backside of the moon. At that point, all of a sudden now, if you're missing like that against that lineup, you can all of a sudden quiet that crowd down. But that was a factor in the first 2 innings. I just don't like. We keep going back to the fact that 2 things: going back to the Rogers Center, or they have to win out. If you win tonight, that's why tonight's treated like a Game 7.
What's your level of confidence in the command of Luis Castillo? Because you sort of talked about he had a number of walks in that last out. It was a weird outing in that he gave up just 1 hit. Yeah. Didn't give up a single run.
Right.
But
a lot of little
4 walks.
A lot of little pop flies, like off balance pop flies, like similar. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, it's a very similar outing if I watch it to what he looked like against the Royals when all of a sudden he started to turn things around on the road.
Right.
And that was kind of like a must win. Just weak contact up in the ground, just below the barrel, off balance.
He was effective in terms of the overall, what the box score looked like, but you looked at him and he wasn't, his command wasn't there, or maybe, as you said, he wasn't giving in. So I'm okay with walking these guys.
Right. Well, think about that. That's okay. Go back to the situation they're in. They lost Game 1, Tarek Skubal, they're up against Game 2. You have to match Tarek Skubal until he's done. That's kind of what that was the challenge. Therefore, I think he's had that approach, and this is what I'm talking about with Luis Castillo. He had that approach that compared to the 0-1, I'm treating it like a 2-seam fastball that I'm going to the top of the strike zone and running in on the hands, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As opposed to I need to get to 2 strikes, then put someone away. And the difference is George Kirby last night, I think if George Kirby was in Game 5, you would have had some of those, those early count pitch decisions or execution would have been completely different. All the damage happened against George Kirby the first 3 pitches of an at-bat. Trying to get to 2 strikes was one thing, because again, for multiple reasons. But I think in this situation now, Luis Castillo treats an 0-1 or a 1-0 count. You know what? I am not trying to slip back into the count. I'm not trying to get to a better count here. No. It is straight 0-1 or 1-0. I'm going for that swing and miss. And if it takes me 6 or 7 pitches to get through in that bat, and I've thrown 30 pitches, I don't care. I'm just going to scratch and claw out some zeros here early on.
Yeah. Well, now, if you're taking a look at this offense, and we're talking about a guy in Scherzer where you have no idea what you're going to get from this guy. Are you aggressive, or are you going up there going, no, I'm gonna see what he's got first. Am I waiting for him to make a mistake? He wants to feel good, so he wants strike 1. Maybe I'm going to ambush that first fastball. Are you aggressive or are you passive? How are you approaching that?
Well, first of all, I do, knock on wood, I do like this matchup because you get that feeling that Max Scherzer is going to try and 500th game, 26th postseason game, been here before, where he's going to go back to, I can beat you with my stuff inside the strike zone. But the reality is the stuff is not the same. It purely isn't because of he's been banged up via injury or he's 40-plus years old, right? Knock on wood. I love the guy, man. I absolutely have so much respect for him. But I want him in a situation where, not that he's giving in, but he gets in that challenge mode. And I think the Mariners, man, if you can get to a place there where it's early on in counts, or it's a situation 1-0, 2-0, and he tries to get that pitch in the strike zone, with the way that slider's, it's not the same break on that slider, and that fastball doesn't have the same giddy up. you can make him pay for it.
But it is the mentality. I mean, Arozarena, he's aggressive anyway. That doesn't seem to change.
Yeah.
With whoever's on the mound. But if you're Cal, if you're Julio, if you're Naylor, are you going up there with the mindset? I'm gonna be a little bit more selective. I'm gonna make him earn it. I'm gonna or he's gonna try to feel good about being back out there, maybe groove one to start to get ahead in the count, and I'm going to ambush it.
The approach should be when you're going up to hit, you're like, all right, anything that's spinning in the middle of the plate, man, it's not going to take off on me. In other words, I talked about this with Gino earlier at the end of the season. Max Scherzer, you go back a couple of years ago, you've got to respect the fact that I feel like I can see that ball and it just takes a left turn. I feel like I can see that ball and it just rides to the top of the strike zone.
Right.
You have to walk up with that confidence or that belief that if I see something middle up, which looks like a mistake, it's not going to just all of a sudden disappear on me, that I can handle that pitch. Therefore, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm just leaving mistakes out over the plate. Be aggressive. However, got to see a mistake. You're going to see something middle. Don't go chasing because, again, there's not something where he's going to get that same amount of chase. See something middle up and just get after it, because I know this version of Max Scherzer is a little less explosive than it was just a couple of years ago.
All right, coming up, we get a chance to speak. Somebody with some great baseball insight. Everybody knows this guy, loves him if you're a baseball fan. ESPN's Tim Kurkjian is going to join us next as we continue live from Victory Hall on your home for the Mariners in the American League Championship Series, Seattle Sports on 710.
Well, the Blue Jays finally showed up here in the ALCS.
Deep to right field, that ain't coming back. And the Blue Jays now lead it 13-4.
On to Game 4 tonight at T-Mobile, where the Mariners look to bounce back.
This is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back.
And pull within one win of the World Series. First pitch at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Got neighbors? Big Trees can help. This is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. If you've been considering planting trees to add privacy, look no further than Big Trees. Privacy trees fill in empty spaces, help to define property lines, and add curb appeal. Learn more about Big Trees' big supply of privacy trees at bigtreesupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly. Big Trees.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When your reputation's on the line, you don't leave anything to chance, especially your primer. Painters trust Kills primers for a smooth start, strong adhesion, and serious stain-blocking power. And now, the full Kills lineup is available exclusively at the Home Depot. Need it fast? Get same-day or next-day delivery, or order online and pick up in-store. Kills primers. Pro results, faster. The Home Depot. If you're a pro, you know.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
At West Hills Autoplex, we thoroughly inspect and prepare every used car to be like new. Because to you, it is new. We also pay you top dollar for your vehicle, so there's no better place to give your old car a new story. Auto Center Way exit, Highway 3 Bremerton.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bail Arm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bailarm.com today.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Luxury has arrived at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here. You can book now for an unforgettable experience. Let's talk about Hawks Peak. It is the place to be for game days this football season. With over 66 TVs, indoor-outdoor concept, the deck is covered and it's heated as well. And the food, oh man, it was excellent. All with breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. Yep, you can go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even bad hair day?
Yep.
And tree branch fell on my car day?
Especially that day. Progressive has you covered 24/7 for your home and auto.
How about thought it was chicken, but it was tuna day? Or overnight construction outside my bedroom day?
Those days too.
Great, because that was each day this week.
Been there. Well, at least your home and auto are covered every day with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Baseball's postseason is here. Seattle Sports Playoff coverage is presented by Honey Bucket, 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Welcome to the Mariners Pennant Push.
The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
Special pregame coverage counting you down to first pitch in the American League Championship Series.
It is on its way. It is history. Cal Raleigh stands alone.
The countdown to first pitch starts now.
The countdown starts indeed. The Mariners pregame show coming up at 4:30 with the 5:30 first pitch from T-Mobile Park, Game 4 of the ALCS. We are live at Victory Hall. Bob Stelton, Ryan Rowland-Smith with you. And joining us now is one of the great voices of baseball. You know this guy every baseball season. I look forward to his commentary. Look forward to seeing him out there on the field and getting a chance to catch up with him. We're talking about the legend that is Tim Kurkjian, joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Tim, how are you?
I'm really well. I'm at a playoff game in October in a beautiful ballpark. I'm surrounded by friends here in the booth, so all is well.
Well, give me your take on what you've seen so far. I mean, it started out maybe surprisingly to a lot of people, considering the Mariners came off a 15-inning marathon and starters going on short rest, bullpen burned, and they take the first two on the road in Toronto, and then last night Toronto flipped the script on them. How surprising is the situation as it sits right now to you?
None of it is surprising, because this entire season has been one gigantic surprise. Just when you think a team is good, it loses 6 games in a row. Just when you think they're in trouble, they win 7 games in a row. I thought game one was something that was a huge advantage for the Blue Jays, and instead the Mariners won. I thought the advantage last night went to the Mariners, and instead the Blue Jays won. So anyone who thinks he actually understands this season hasn't been watching this season. So there are no surprises. No series is over. It has been the most fascinating baseball season I've ever seen because it has made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And that's what makes baseball the greatest game in the world.
Tim, we've been talking about this game being so crucial because you either go 2-2 after this game, and you're essentially back to square one with all that, that momentum you built by taking 2 games in Toronto over the Blue Jays. Or on the flip side, if you take care of this game, all of a sudden it's 3-1 and you're right back in the driver's seat. How crucial are these game 4s when you have a chance to go up 3-1?
Yeah, this is obviously the most important game of this series so far because 3-1 and 2-2 changes everything. 3-1 at home with a chance to clinch as opposed to 2-2, and we know we're going back to Toronto. That changes the entire equation, and that's why tonight is so important. And I wish I had a good feel for tonight, but I don't because I haven't had a good feel for anything all year. I mean, what kind of pitcher is Max Scherzer going to be tonight?
Right.
His last 5 postseason starts, he's got a 7.71 ERA. His last 5 starts in the regular season, 19 innings, 21 earned runs, and yet he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. He's got a chance to be great tonight. I just can't get a feel for him. I got a better feel for Luis Castillo. He's going to be filthy because he's always filthy.
Tim, just on Max Scherzer, he gets left off the ALDS roster, right? I mean, for a Trey Yesavage, who was the Trey Yesavage before we saw him pitch against the Yankees. And it's kind of a shock. You're like, how do you leave off a Max Scherzer? I know because September it was a bit of a struggle. But since then, I mean, he wasn't with the team in New York. He stayed back through sim games. What kind of preparation, to go into depth here with what can you expect from Max Scherzer? What are the Blue Jays trying to get out of Max Scherzer tonight with all that being said?
Well, if he can give him 4 or 5 innings, I think that's a huge victory for the Blue Jays because he just hasn't pitched since September the 24th. And even though he's Max Scherzer, he's the most prepared man in the world. He's thrown a couple of bullpens. He stayed back a couple times to pitch. He had a 95-pitch bullpen the other day. So he's not going to go out there unprepared. The question is, what is his stuff going to look like when he has struggled for the entire month of September and now has taken over almost 3 weeks off here? This is a tricky spot for Scherzer. It's a tricky spot for the Blue Jays, and I'm pretty sure that Chris Bassett and others will be ready early, and yet 2 people who I trust implicitly on things. I asked, how do you think Scherzer will do tonight? And both of them said he's going to be really good. You watch. Who knew?
Hey, Tim, as far as, what you were saying about not being able to predict this season and how just it was crazy how things have worked out across the league. How surprising is it to you that the Mariners are sitting in a position where they're 2 games away from the World Series, yet we're talking about their biggest strength going into the season was a rotation 1 through 5 that basically nobody in baseball could match. I mean, that was their calling card, and that's what everybody pointed to, yet every single pitcher in this lineup has taken turns being hurt, spending time on the IL, with the exception of Luis Castillo, who had about a month of struggles. Pitching hasn't been the calling card this year, yet here they are, 2 games away. I mean, I've got to imagine that's got to be one of the bigger surprises for you.
Yes, the only way they should be here is if they outpitched everyone out of their starting rotation this season, and they didn't do that. And that's the big surprise about the Mariners. And their bullpen obviously has been great, but they still have a chance. There is still time for this dominant starting rotation to get hot again and be really good. It's got to start tonight with Luis Castillo. But, yeah, it just shows, again, the unpredictable nature. I counted the Mariners out twice this year, saying they're not going to make the playoffs. But I will tell you, after the trade deadline, I went to a talent evaluator that I know. He's got a great look at the game. And I say, is there anything about the Mariners that concerns you? Because, sometimes they look really good and then they fade down the stretch. And he looked at me, he goes, I'm not concerned about anything with the Mariners. They are really good. You watch. And they are. They're really good right now, but they just need another well-pitched game tonight from Castillo to get them in position to have a better shot to go to the World Series.
Tim, real quick, I want to ask you this, right? Yesterday we found out that Cal Raleigh wasn't a finalist, for the Gold Glove, being a Platinum Glove winner last year and obviously winning it last year and 60 home runs this year. Were you shocked by that? I mean, do you have any takes on obviously the guys who are finalists, they're deserving, I get it. But was that a shocker for you?
Yes, I was very surprised. I still think he is an elite defensive catcher. He did not have a pass ball during the regular season. Last catcher to play in 120 games without a pass ball was the greatest catcher of all time, Johnny Bench, in 1975. But we're basing these things for Gold Glove and everything else based on statistics and everything else. What they're not measuring is what Cal Raleigh is like when he walks to the mound and calms a pitcher down. He's really good at that. And these are the things you can't measure. We think we can quantify everything in Major League Baseball, and we can't. That's one of the things. Balls in the dirt, balls caught, the way he plays the game, the way he deals with the pitching staff, that should all be factored in. And I thought he should have been one of the 3 finalists at the catching position.
Hey, Tim, what's your feeling about Dan Wilson in the job he's done his first year as a full-time manager? I know he had 34 games under his belt last year, but just full season, here we are again in uncharted territory for this organization. How much credit, how much of that the success do you put on Dan Wilson?
Well, he's done a really good job. There's no way around that. And this is a really hard job managing in the big leagues today. It's much harder, I believe, than it's ever been. But what he's done exceptionally well is he has listened to his coaches. He has given responsibility to others. I mean, when you have Edgar Martinez, one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen, as one of your hitting coaches, that's a good guy to lean on, and he has leaned on so many guys within the organization. A lot of managers, especially relatively young guys, come in and think, I know everything, I don't need any help here, and they really do, especially when you haven't managed before. And he's got such a calm demeanor. You never see him panic, because once, it's a cliche, but once you see the manager panicking, when he never does, that's when the players start to panic. So I think Dan's done an excellent job. No way around that.
Tim, one thing I'm starting to notice with these playoffs, I felt like you're going back, not to look big picture here, but you go back a couple of years ago, you kind of had that feeling that every playoff series was going to be taking the starting pitcher out. We've seen the Dodgers in the first 2 games, 8 innings from Snell, 9 innings from Yamamoto. We're starting to see a little bit more of an emphasis on when a guy can get deep into a game, or you give them an opportunity to get through a situation, good things seem to happen. Are you look, I know the Brewers watching that game right now. Ashby was the opener, and they're still deploying, the opener and having these bullpen days. The Blue Jays did against the Yankees. But are you seeing more of an emphasis now on valuing the starting pitcher, getting a little deeper, especially after kind of the trend the last couple of years? I mean, Dave Roberts was a huge culprit of that the last couple of seasons, but now all of a sudden I feel like he's leaning way heavier on his starting pitching this time around.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm 68 years old. I grew up watching Danny McClain start against Bob Gibson in Game 1 of the '68 World Series. To me, that's what the World Series and postseason baseball is supposed to look like. But the Dodgers are different this year. The Dodgers, Dave Roberts told me, we had 2.5 starting pitchers going into the postseason last year. This year we have 6. That's the difference. The Dodgers used an opener twice in the League Championship Series last year and once in the World Series and won it all. So there are formulas that make that work. But again, being an old man now, I think we need to return the value of the starting pitcher. And even keeping Shane Bieber in for an extra inning or 2 yesterday was a really good thing that helped the Blue Jays. And I think if Castillo is dealing, I think you leave him in there and let him go. These guys are ready for this. I really think it would be better for the game if we told our starting pitchers, we're going to need a little bit more out of you tonight than 5 innings and 85 pitches. We're going to push you, and a lot of those guys are ready for it.
Hey, Tim, who are you kidding? You're just hitting your prime right now, all right? You're peaking as we speak. Hey, I'm curious, as you talk about being old school and everything, where are you at with ABS? Because we saw the game before last night in Game 3. It was not a good night for Doug Eddings behind the plate. There are people that are on the side of old school. Like the charm of the human element, and each guy has their own strike zone, all that good stuff. But for me, I'm looking at it going, man, there's just, especially in the postseason, there's so much attached. There's just too much consequence. It's too important. These calls can flip a game. And if you have the ability to get them right, you got to get them right. But there's a lot of people that argue against that. Where are you at with ABS and its eventual emergence into Major League Baseball?
Yeah, well, it's coming next year. I would, if I were in charge, I would have given it one more year in the minor leagues, one more year in spring training, one more year in the All-Star game for people to get used to it, because I don't think there is a clear consensus from the players that this is a great idea. We absolutely have to have this, and it's going to change the game. The framing of pitches by a catcher, that's going to change. A lot of things are going to change, even with a challenge system. So I just warn everyone, if you bring in more technology and take more of the human element away, it could lead to some issues. I think we're going to be okay with this, but I would like to have given it one more year in the minor league, spring training, and the All-Star game to make sure it's as close to a perfect system as we can get.
Wow. Well, as you mentioned, it's going to be here next year, the challenge portion of it. But do you see it eventually becoming full-time ABS behind the plate? You still need the home plate umpire there, obviously, to make the calls at the plate and whatnot. But in terms of balls and strikes, do you see that eventually becoming fully ABS, or it's just going to remain a challenge system?
No, I think it's going to be full ABS someday. Now, it's not going to be next year or the year after, but we just have to experiment with this. And I just hope that when we do something this drastic, this big, that we recognize, all right, this is a good idea, it's working. But if it's not working, we have to be able to put the brakes on it and say, all right, this was a bad idea. We're going to table it, and we're going to figure out what to do next. But, yes, it's coming in the next few years. I'm pretty sure about that.
Tim, we know you're a busy guy. I really appreciate you cutting out time for us, as always. We appreciate it, and hopefully we're talking in a World Series matchup. Yes. Hopefully that'll be the next conversation.
Okay, fellas. Thanks for having me. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. There he is, the great Tim Kurkjian, with us. If you guys missed any part of that conversation, you can find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Where are you at with ABS? They're going to have the challenge portion of it, meaning, only the pitcher, the catcher, or the hitter can challenge. Can't come from the manager. I saw it in spring training this year. I thought it was great.
Loved it.
It was fast. It did not slow. It literally was, 7, maybe 10 seconds it took, maybe.
For the most part, most of the big leaguers who haven't experienced it for a full season seem to be on board with it. The minor leaguers who, dealt with it last year with the challenge system, they're all in on that.
Yeah.
The full ABS, where they what they did in the minor leagues, they split the season, they split the week into two. The midweek games, there for a little bit, they did full ABS. On the weekend, they did the challenge system. And it was so drastic in the sense that the midweek games, never again. Guys were sort of hoping to pitch not in the ABS because it was so ridiculous, right, in regards to the ABS system. But the challenge
ridiculous
system,
in what way?
They just didn't like it. They said there wasn't a true strike zone. Simply wasn't true. And they tried to adjust and try and mix and match and figure out how to shape the strike zone correctly. It just wasn't working. The challenge system, everyone was loving that. Absolutely. Now, I disagree with Tim in a sense that thinking that all of a sudden the first step is the challenge and then we move on. I think it's just like tennis, man. You get two challenges, just like we see with this right now, where with the challenging plays right now. I love it in tennis, man. You challenge that play, a quick replay. You get to see it, creates a little bit of a little anticipation, bit of excitement. Boom, you overturn it. That's it. If you mess it up, you lose your challenge.
Right.
I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. I don't see it progressing into a full-time ABS.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah. But I think the challenge, especially in the postseason, is crucial because, as we saw, again, not last night so much, but the night before with Doug Eddings behind the plate, I thought he was atrocious. And it was for both teams. He wasn't, there for the Blue Jays and not for the Mariners. Mariners got some calls going their way as well. But to me, when you've got so much at stake, and he made calls that were the difference between a 3-2 game and a 3-3 game.
Yeah.
Gilbert should have been out of an inning. There were 2 missed strike calls in that inning. He called balls. It turns into they come back and tie the game. So to me, when there's that much at stake, you can't have somebody who's that, all over the place with their strike zone.
And it also creates, and this is something that I honestly thought, the one rule that I thought was going to be way more drastic was the 2 throws to first base. I thought there was going to be teams exploiting that and pushing you to throw twice to then get a chance to go on that 3rd time and take off and get that extra base, get in scoring position. We haven't seen that in the last couple of years. It really has. It's been a non-factor. It really has. Now, with this, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of strategy involved in how you sort of deploy this challenge system. But I just think that, look, and people know this already, but if you go full ABS, and this is why the game, look, put it this way, game as it is now compared to challenge system is a slight difference. From a challenge system to full ABS is a drastic game-changing difference for multiple reasons. Number one, takes the human element out, takes the anticipation or that umpire setting his strike zone or whatever it may be. It takes the blow-ups out with the which some people like that drama. The other thing it takes out is the art of pitch framing. Pitch framing is a huge skill. It's a skill set. They quantify it now. Cal Rawley's one of the best at top of the strikes, and we talked about that yesterday. That completely goes away. I don't see that happening because this game, for 100+ years, it's been around and been a prevalent, sport in this country. The human element has always shined through, and I think this is just that happy medium where you just give a little bit of that challenge to, yep, all right, we're going to cover that. You still have all that human element.
Yeah, I think then they've got to make a concerted effort to get the best of the best behind the plate in the playoffs.
That's a tough gig, man.
You just can't have somebody who's that inconsistent. It just, I'm sorry, there's just too much on the line. All right, we're moments away from the Mariners pregame show coming your way here, Seattle Sports on 710. What's your feeling as we're getting closer now? A little over an hour away from first pitch. Feeling good?
I'm seeing Luis Castillo pitching into the 5th, and then you start seeing a little bit of drama, and I see the bullpen get deployed. I feel like the Mariners are going to get that quick couple runs off Max Scherzer. He's not going to be bad, but they're going to get that bullpen early because they're so confident in him. But I feel like Luis Castillo is going to get you into the 5th, and then the bullpen take it away. And I said this yesterday. If you have a Munoz who can cover an inning-plus save, in other words, get 4 outs or 5 outs, deploy him in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can bring a Brash in the 7th inning if you're comfortable doing that. He's well-rested. This is going to come down to the bullpen late in this game.
Spire, Bizzardo, 6th.
Yeah, for sure. I do, yes.
Then you got Brash.
And then you got Brash, and then you got Munoz. So I feel like this is going to turn over to the bullpen. It's going to stay close, and this is going to be a bullpen game.
Do we see Brian Wu tonight?
No.
No.
I'd like to see him. I want to see what, if this.
Well, hopefully they don't need him.
Yeah.
That'd be great if you can use him in the what could be the game that sends you to the World Series.
It depends on the score. I feel like it's going to be close. You're going to score a couple runs early off Max Scherzer.
So you don't see this being like last night where the ball's just flying out of the yard, high-scoring affair.
I don't. I keep going back to, looking down at Luis Castillo on that top step of the dugout, watching a little bit of a blueprint and watching, and I think that they understand 3-1 compared to 2-2. We keep going back to that. He is going to pitch to a 0-1 count like it's 2 strikes, 1-0 count like it's 2 strikes. 2-0, I'm expanding, I'm going 3-0, I don't care. If I want to do it, I'm getting the next guy. 6-7 pitches per at-bat. It's going to be a bit of a grind.
Do you see
some quick outs.
Do you see the winner of tonight's game being the ultimate winner of the series?
I'm going to say, based off pure percentages, yes.
So regardless.
Oh, sorry, take that back. You say, okay, sorry.
So whoever wins tonight, so it's either 3-1, like we said, or it's 2-2. Just looking at whoever the winner is, do you look at them as the one that moves on into the World Series?
I can't say yes to that. I want to say yes, but I don't, man.
You want to say yes if the Mariners go up 3-1, but if it goes 2-2, exactly. You want to go, not necessarily.
Because all of a sudden that momentum, it's just difficult to do what they did for those 2 games in Toronto again. It just is.
Yeah.
At home, and all of a sudden they restructure. You get a Gosman in there. Trey Savage is still nasty. I know they made him didn't look great. It gets tougher and tougher as the series goes along.
Can you imagine if it went Blue Jays get it tonight, it's 2-2. Mariners get it tomorrow.
Oh,
they go in 3-2.
Excruciating.
They go in 3-2. Blue Jays get it in 6, we go to a Game 7.
Wow, that'd be wild. To think about that. To get to a place the Seattle Mariners have never been, and that is to a World Series. Oh, excruciating.
I don't know if my heart can take it, man. Let's go to a Game 7.
And just wearing out bullpens and just, crucial moments, living and dying on every pitch. But like I said, that's what happens. The deeper you get into this series, that's ultimately what happens.
You have a wild card for tonight, an X factor in that line. Does Leo Rivas get something done?
I'm going Dominic Canzone.
Dominic finally gets off the schneid.
Yeah, I'm going Dominic Canzone with 2 strikes, hanging slider. It just
leaves the yard.
Right center field, just catches something out front that Scherzer's like, I'm challenging you, but I'm going to cement mix this because I don't have that same arm speed. Whack, I'm jumping on that bad boy.
I'm hoping you're right, because like you, Polanco was my X factor before, and I was saying a close second was Canzone. It's just like, he's going to get a hold of something. I've just got some belief he's going to get something done. But, yeah, we'll see if he's able to pull that off tonight. Either, I don't care who does it, just come away with the W. That's all I care about. All right, that's going to do it for us. I want to thank our guests, Jon Morosi and Tim Kurkjian, for joining us on the program. If you missed any part of the show, you can find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Just click the podcast tab. You'll find it out there. Have a great night, everybody. Go Mariners. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Welp, the Blue Jays finally showed up here in the ALCS.
Deep to right field, that ain't coming back. And the Blue Jays now lead it 13-4.
On to Game 4 tonight at T-Mobile, where the Mariners look to bounce back.
This is a team that has done this a lot this year in terms of bouncing back.
And pull within 1 win of the World Series. First pitch at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hi, I'm Justin Shirley. We offer 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 24 months on new roofs. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF now. State Roofing and Exteriors. Held to a higher standard since 1968.
At Bible Law Group, we understand when you've got legal problems so biblical, not even an Etsy witch can turn your court case around. With James Bible and his team by your side, don't panic when your ark is lost in divorce or when a whale swallows your defense attorney. At Bible Law Group, we've secured over $40 million in settlements for our clients, and we're ready to fight for you. When your legal problems hit biblical proportions, contact Bible Law Group and let our talented team of lawyers get to work, no matter the problem. Find us at BibleLawGroup.com.
Hey 12's Steve Rabel here for Virginia Mason Franciscan Health. For men 40 and older, a simple PSA blood test can help intercept prostate cancer early. You can get the simple test before the Crucial Catch game October 20th at Ticketmaster Tailgate.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Lowe's knows pros want more. Join My Lowe's Pro Rewards for free to get $20 off your first qualifying purchase of $100 or more just for signing up. Plus, enjoy free standard shipping and more ways to save on your next job. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer valid for new members only. Not valid with any other discount. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowes.com/pro-loyalty for details. Subject to change.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
Your better half making you run errands during the Mariners playoff game? We have your solution.
Swing and a miss. Strike three. Got him.
Hear every Mariners game live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. This is the Seattle Mariners pregame show, counting you down to first pitch between the Toronto Blue Jays and your American League West champion Seattle Mariners in the 2025 American League Championship Series.
And the fans are going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
Pregame coverage is presented by the Chevy Colorado, Cheetos, and by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. The countdown to first pitch starts now.
We go to the 15th inning. Luis Castillo got the final out in the 14th, and now he'll face the top of the Tigers order. Kerry Carpenter will lead things off. Into the motion, the 1-2. Swung on and missed. High heat got him. Torres has been a pest in this series. Here comes the 3-2. Swung a chopper, third base side. Gino charges, gloves, throws on the move in plenty of time. Out number 2 in the 15th. Here's the pitch to Green. Swung on, lifted left field, foul territory. Arozarena over. Will he have room? He does, and he makes the catch in foul territory. Luis Castillo, a 1-2-3, 15th inning.
Luis Castillo, one of the heroes of Game 5 of the Division Series, coming out of the pen in the 14th inning. Tonight, he is back to his day job in a huge swing game in the best-of-7 series. The pregame show starts right now. Good afternoon and welcome to T-Mobile Park, where a sold-out house is just getting warmed up for what should be an electric night of baseball. Mariners looking to pass go, take a commanding 3-1 lead over the Blue Jays, who, as we have seen, will be no pushover. Luis Castillo, the Rock on the hill, making his third appearance already in this postseason. He's going to go for the Mariners, with the Blue Jays dipping deep into the way-back machine, going with Max Scherzer to start. Chris Bassett expected to pitch innings as well. So the Mariners bring their 2-1 series lead into this game, looking to win their first ever third in a series ALCS game. And they put themselves, if they do that, on the doorstep of a trip to the World Series. One game at a time, but a lot on the line, obviously, in this entire series. The Mariners can take a giant step forward with a win tonight. Now, both teams today have made changes in their lineups, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at their oh so dangerous on that first pitch at the top of the lineup. He will lead off, be the designated hitter, followed by Nathan Lucas and left, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What a night for him yesterday. 4 home runs for the postseason, 10 runs batted in. He will be at first base, batting third. Then hitting cleanup tonight is going to be Alejandro Kirk, who is behind the plate, Dalton Varsho in center, Ernie Clement at third, Addison Barger in right field, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in the lineup tonight at second base, and Andres Jimenez at short, rounding out the 9. So the roster move and one of the changes in the Blue Jays lineup will take us to the health report, brought to you by Virginia Mason Franciscan Health. News just came down on this, but the Blue Jays have removed from their roster Anthony Santander. That was approved by Major League Baseball, and because he was taken off mid-series, he will not be World Series eligible. So he is out for the remainder of the series and the remainder of the postseason, for that matter. Taking his place will be Joey Loperfido, the outfielder. There was some speculation if this move happened, it could be Bo Bichette, but apparently still not ready yet. We have seen him run drills in the outfield, but they have not deemed him suitable to return as of yet. So that is what is going on with the Blue Jays. As for the Mariners, we found out today that tomorrow's starter will be Bryce Miller, but available out of the pen will be Brian Wu. So we talked about that a lot on the post-game show. They're choosing to introduce him back into game action and postseason game action via the bullpen. We could see him anytime out of the pen. Of course, they'll give him a clean inning to come in. But Brian Wu, for now, is in the pen. This health report is powered by Virginia Mason Franciscan Health, the sports medicine provider of the Seattle Mariners. We've got a great show planned for you. Coming up on the roundtable, we'll talk about the pitching moves. And also, the Blue Jays have made it clear they are here to slug. They are here to hit the ball out of the ballpark. How do you stop an offense like that? We shall discuss. On the Mariners Clubhouse Insider, I'll catch up with Leo Rivas ahead of his first career postseason start, and we'll have all the usuals as well. Coming up next, it will be Aaron Goldsmith sitting down with the skipper. You're just getting started here with us. Stick around. You're listening to us on the Global Credit Union Mariners Radio Network.
Whether home or away, Mariners fans can win every day. Because when you fuel up with our proud fuel partner, Arco, you're getting quality top-tier gas for less. So be a team player to your wallet and pay less like a pro. Now that's one for the highlight reel. It's time to enjoy your winning streak at the park and the pump. Take the win with quality top-tier gas for less at Arco. Savings based on independent retail price survey.
Baseball fans, it's time to step up to the plate and swing for a grand slam at the biggest and best in the Northwest. Muckleshoot Casino Resort is always a home run, with the best games, the best restaurants, the best pool and spa, and the best rooms and luxury suites. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the biggest and best in the Northwest.
Muckleshoot. $195 million. Global Credit Union members saved $195 million last year through lower fees and better interest rates. At Global, member service is our highest priority. 27 branches throughout Washington, an easy-to-use mobile app, and access to a member service rep wherever you are and whenever you need help. 24/7, 365 days a year. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, proud partners of Seattle Mariners Radio.
Hey Mariner fans, Rick Riz here. Steel deals are happening now, from instant savings on select power tools to free battery offers on some of Steel's most popular battery sets. You can enjoy great deals and do it all with Steel. Save now on zero-turn mowers, blowers, chainsaws, battery packs, and more. Steel is the preferred handheld outdoor power equipment provider of the Seattle Mariners. For more details, visit your local Steel dealer or click steelusa.com. Steel, trusted by the pros.
This is Mariners baseball. The countdown to first pitch continues with the Dan Wilson Show.
Aaron Goldsmith alongside the skipper Dan Wilson. Tonight, Game 4 of the American League Championship Series at T-Mobile Park. Dan, obviously last night a tough one. This is, after all, the Blue Jays, that is, one of the best offensive teams in baseball. If there is one thing as a collective whole on the Mariners pitching front that was the problem last night, can you identify something?
I mean, I think, just the fact, and you mentioned this is a team that has had outstanding offensive season in Toronto, but when pitchers find a lot of plate, I think that's when you can see some damage, and we saw some of that last night. This is a team that's not going to miss mistakes and pitches that get too much of the plate, and they were able to do that last night. Tonight's a new night, and as we've talked about, this is a team that has been able to bounce back, and look forward to that tonight.
Yeah, really fun pitching matchup tonight. A couple of veterans, Luis Castillo versus Max Scherzer. Luis has thrown the ball so well. We know about what he has done at home this season. What are you hoping to see tonight from Castillo?
Yeah, more of the same. A great Game 2 against Detroit in the ALDS. And a great bullpen outing in that 15-inning game, and coming out there and throwing an inning and a third there for us. Rock, as you mentioned, the veteran, a guy that just kind of senses the moment, knows how to step up, knows how to rise up to that moment, and tonight is certainly one of those moments, and look forward to seeing him and how he meets that moment.
I'm not sure anybody in the ballpark really knows exactly what to expect and what we'll see from Max Scherzer tonight. Obviously, first ballot Hall of Famer. His prime was as good as almost anybody in the game's history. Not the exact same guy now, but the Blue Jays are hoping he can kind of revive some of that old